I'm here to stand on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
On this show.
This is the hottest show on the planet right now.
What's the debate?
Ain't no debate.
Stop. Hey, go on.
You're tuning in to the Vulcan Soapbox.
What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Vulcan Soapbox. Bringing it to you intellectual and logical, with some epistemology in there, but we talk about all kind of different topics. We're going to be talking about Drake's lawsuit. We're going to get it into hip-hop and how it affects the community. So let your friends know, let your enemies know, share our videos, like and subscribe and support. And if you want to be a guest on the show, make sure you inbox us. We're going to be talking about it. We got some esteemed panelists here, very intellectually astute gentlemen here. So make sure you got your pen and your paper out and take lots of notes. Let's get into it, Enos.
Yes, sir. Let's introduce everybody that's on the panel. What's up, him? I'm not calling you that, man.
That's not me. I don't know who that is. You call it. There's a bunch of him. There's four of us. There's five of us.
Okay, introduce yourself and let the audience know about yourself. No, I'm just joking.
Mr. Herb Lee, Mr. On Time Tonight. I don't know about y'all, but I was on time. That's going to be my name. All right.
Shout out to him. What's up at Derek Bain at TikTok? What's going on?
What's going on, man? Glad to be here again. Thank you guys for having me. Let's have some fun.
Man, I like them shades, man. Shout out to you, man. I like that, man.
My eyes are puffy. I'm tired of looking at them.
Okay. And my guy Fresh, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? Freshie Snipes. Y'all know me. I'm just here to get my shots up.
All right, let's just get right into the video, y'all. Hope everybody's having a good day. I am. All right, here we go.
Last year, in 2024, a heated exchange of diss tracks took place between two popular rappers, Drake and Kendrick Lamar. They accused each other of being fake, hypocritical, and abusive. Fans declared Lamar's hit song, Not Like Us, as the clear winner of their feud. However, Drake felt differently about the song, particularly because it included the references to pedophilia, which he considered extremely troubling and harmful in real life. On Tuesday, January 14th, 2025, Drake withdrew the petition accusing Spotify and Universal Music Group, also known as UMG, of artificially boosting streams of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. A day later, Drake filed a lawsuit against UMG for defamation and harassment in a New York federal court. The claims outlined in Drake's lawsuit bring to light several key points of contention. The first being defamation claims. Drake's lawsuit alleges that Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us, contained defamatory statements about him, painting him in a negative light with serious accusations. 2. Use of inflammatory artwork. The album artwork associated with Not Like Us drew parallels to criminal behavior by featuring imagery that suggests Drake's home was linked to child sex offenders. 3. Incitement of violent acts. The suit alleges that UMG approved, published, and launched a campaign to create a viral hit out of a rap track that was intended to convey the specific, unmistakable, and false allegations that Drake is a criminal pedophile, and to suggest that the public should resort to vigilante justice in response. Just days after the song came out, there was a shooting at Drake's house that injured a security guard.
Outside, music star Drake's Toronto mansion has left a security guard seriously wounded. Right now, investigators are looking for the gunman. Police are using video footage obtained at the scene to investigate the 2 a.m. drive-by shooting. The security guard was shot in the chest, is hospitalized in serious condition. It is unclear whether Drake was home at the time.
4. Accusations of criminal behavior. The song, Not Like Us, includes serious allegations that Drake is involved in inappropriate behavior, labeling him as a predator. Drake's lawsuit contends that these claims are false. The situation is compared to the Pizzagate conspiracy theory that surfaced during the 2016 U.S. presidential election, which incorrectly accused certain politicians of being involved in a child sex trafficking ring. Interestingly enough, Drake's attorney in this case is Michael J. Gottlieb, a partner at the law firm Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher. Gottlieb has experiences with cases related to the Pizzagate conspiracy, as he previously represented the owner of the Washington Pizzeria that became a target of these conspiracy theories, as well as election workers falsely accused by Rudy Giuliani. 5. Business strategy against Drake. The lawsuit posits that UMG had an ulterior motive to damage Drake's reputation in order to renegotiate a new contract on more favorable terms for themselves, as Drake's contract was set to expire. Overall, the lawsuit aims to make UMG responsible for putting Drake in a risky situation and harming his reputation by promoting a diss track.
All right. So the first question I got for the panel: does this lawsuit paint Drake as a snitch? Yes or no? I'm gonna start off with him. Please change your name, bro. Please do it for me. Oh, before you
For the culture.
before you answer, let me get to the comments. Help the Bear said, "What up, fellas? I know y'all not about to call him." all y'all show laughing. Hey, shout out to Dr. A. Williams. She said, "My parents and I are excited to be here, and we are watching." Shout out to Dr. A. Williams. Also said, pull this up. She says, "Oh, at Help the Bear, I wanted to know the same thing. Y'all calling him?" No, I'm just playing. All right, so yeah, so that's the first question. Bring some more people in here. What's up, Will?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Doing all right. We just we'll catch you up to speed. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with him. Does this lawsuit paint him as a snitch? Yes or no?
Speaking to me?
Him.
No.
Okay.
All right. At Derek Bain.
No.
No. Let's bring Will in here. Yes or no?
I mean, if I had to go off top, man, yeah, I have to say that, man.
Right,
You involving people in some paperwork.
Oh, we got yes,
man.
yes or no, yes or no. We got yes.
Yes,
Will got yes. What's going on, Fresh?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I got to start to read the comments. Vulcan, does this label Drake as a snitch?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay, no. All right, him. Explain why. 30 seconds, man. You got 30 seconds. All right, him's no. Let's start with let's go with Derek.
With my reason why?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't think he's a snitch because of the times we're living in. We're living in a time where if all of what he accused him of saying and doing he did, you can't do that in this time because of, i.e., somebody going to your house and shooting just based off something you said. It would be like somebody in the NBA trying to clobber somebody like the 80s. Bro, you can't do that now. It's a different time. So the diss track, I mean, think about how sensitive people are with homosexuals. So you can't make a track that puts this man's life in danger and it be accusations and you prey on people's ignorance to respond. So that would be my reason why I say no, he's not a snitch because he did that.
All right, let's go with Will. You muted me, Will. Unmute yourself. I got you. Go ahead, Will. Hold on. All right.
I'm good.
Yes, sir.
All right, my bad. Yeah. I know I'm a little late, man. We're talking about him with the lawsuit against UMG, right?
Yes, sir.
Or yeah, man. I feel like that's kind of ratting. You know what I mean? You can't be in on the heist, and when the jig is up, now I'm naming everybody. Like, we agreed to this. I was in on it. Now I'm putting you in paperwork. Nah, it don't go like that when it don't go in your favor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to ride it out either way.
I like that. Let's go bring Fresh in here. What you think? Give you reasons why.
I think based on the rules that he has, he's aligned himself with, i.e., street rules, he is a snitch. That's not what street dudes do. That's not quote unquote real nigga activity. So I don't think he has to align himself with those rules, but he's chosen to align himself with those rules based on, who he hangs out with, who he spends times with, also times in his music. So based on the rules he's aligned himself with, he's definitely a snitch.
Is that fair to say that Drake has aligned himself with street rules? Is that fair?
You just gotta listen to the music, man.
Okay. Let's go. Let's bring Vulcan in.
Yeah, for me, it's the reason why I would say he's not a snitch is just because he's suing the record label, not Kendrick, and he's dealing with what the NBA might call tampering. So what he's doing is just addressing the fact that they're trying to finesse him on his contract negotiations, and Kendrick Lamar is just the vehicle they use to do it. He's a tool that they use to do it, but he's suing the record label. If he was suing Kendrick Lamar for a beef that he agreed to, then I would agree. But he's not.
Hey man, Ice Cube went up to the label with a bat, man. That's how you're supposed to handle that stuff.
That was back in the day, man. That was back in the day. What's up, Maverick?
Man, what's going on, man?
Man, question for the panel. Just to brief you, Drake had just filed a lawsuit against UMG, Universal Music Group. Just want to get your thoughts on that. Is that considered snitching?
No, I don't think it's snitching at all.
Why?
It's more of a business, because it would be different if this was a beef that wasn't fabricated. I don't think it was a real beef. I think this was a situation that they kind of just played into. They really had no issues, like deep down issues with each other personally. Kind of like someone said with Ice Cube and Jerry Heller, right? Was that his name?
Yeah, but I just want to make sure I get your point. You said no, it was no because it wasn't considered a real beef.
Yeah, this was a whole business type situation that just went south, and then Drake just got the shit end of the stick of it. So if that's the business that we're doing and is going against the business side of the deal, then it's kind of just business at this point. It's not street at all.
All right, Maverick, let me read some of these comments. Help the Bear said it's cool to snitch on the PDF files if you if you maybe a member. Kendrick is the question.
Is that your reading, or is that the way it wrote? Because that sounds horrible.
I think people trying to avoid strikes by not actually writing the word out.
Yeah,
you read that.
Yeah, the PDF file. All right, so it seemed everybody on the panel seemed like everybody was at agreement. I think Fresh is the only one that said yes, it was considered snitching. I wanna get.
No, Will said it was considered snitching as well.
So we got two.
I'm trying to make me the lone wolf, man. Me and Will it's us against the world.
All right, so I'm gonna bring Vulcan in here. So can you give some reasons why do you disagree with Fresh and Will? You got any other reasons why you disagree? That is
my bad. Say that again, my brother. I'm sorry.
Now I was gonna bring Vulcan here one more time, and then Derek. I was asking Vulcan. You got any other reasons you disagree with Fresh and Will?
No, sir.
All right. Let me get to. We're just going to go to the next question because I'm trying to find. Hold on for me, y'all. All right. So since Vulcan, Derek, Maverick said no, that it wasn't snitching, then we got Fresh and Will said it is snitching. I'm gonna ask y'all this then. Next question: what is a snitch? I'm gonna start off with Will.
Well, I feel like if people are in agreement with doing something, that may have consequences unfavorable. If we get caught up in this and we agree to this, then I don't feel like you should point me out to have to go through the same penalty if I make it out unscathed. Like, I look at what Drake is doing, I guess, akin to like insider trading or something. Like, didn't Martha Stewart do time for stuff like this? Like, he's with a group of people and we're making money. We're trying to control the racket. There's money involved. So it's all business at the end of the day, but I don't think that, omits certain allegiances and alliances that we set forth. If he would have won that battle, then it's no problem. I feel like he didn't hold up to his end of the bargain. Like,
a lot
you're
of
the
people
rapper.
saying that too. Sorry to cut you off, but a lot of people been saying
Oh,
that
no
if he would have
problem.
went about it, it would have been definitely a different story. All right, let's get fresh in it because you said he did snitch. What is a snitch? Define that.
In my opinion, not in my opinion, what I learned coming up is that if you partake in the culture and the crime, you cannot then come outside of that culture or crime and expose things just because it didn't go your way. You gotta sit and do your time like a man. Now, what I consider him participating in the crime is this is a back and forth beef. It's not a one-sided beef. He said certain things about personal things, if you will, about Kendrick Lamar as well.
Yeah, he accused Kendrick Lamar beating on his wife.
Domestic abuse, all types of things. So that being said, once he participated, he can no longer come out and say, you know what, I feel like he did me wrong. Y'all did each other wrong. Y'all both was outside up in iron in the streets. If you get hit, you know what I'm saying. If you take a worse hit, for lack of a better word, a more serious, significant hit, you can't then go to the police like he shot me. He shot you while y'all were having a shootout? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what happens when you do that.
All right. And he's snitching on witnesses, man. He's snitching on witnesses. I bet I ain't gonna catch you. He's snitching on people reporting about it.
On the arms dealer and everything. He's telling on the pistol guy too. Hey man, them over there, they gave him the pistol to do it.
Hello, Fred. Hello, y'all. Natural Beauty said, didn't Drake beg him to drop? He asked for this. Yeah, that is true in that diss track. All right. Anybody on this panel disagree with Fresh and Will? Who disagreed with Fresh and Will? Let's get y'all to come in. Oops.
Well, I mean, I won't say that I disagree, but I think that the definition of snitch that they're giving, I would probably agree with that definition too. But we got to understand that there's a lot of different definitions of snitch out there. All the way taking it back to when you were in school, elementary school, and the kid next to you did something wrong, and they might call you a snitch if you told somebody, whether you consented to their actions or not. You ride in the car with your boy, and he's got some stuff on you're not supposed to have. The cops pull you over. He's expecting you not to say anything, even though y'all didn't agree to what he had on him.
Right, but they weren't willing participants.
But no, and we agree. I'm just saying that we can't pretend like we haven't heard people call snitch for something like that as well.
I got you.
So are we? So for me, part of my issue with the snitch song is that Jordan Lucas did, and people's definitions of snitch, throughout, from Italian mafia movies all the way on, is that people change the definition to suit them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
because I don't think Drake would say he snitched.
I would. So my definition of snitch is a snitch is somebody who doesn't have the power to fight against the more powerful group that says they're doing something that's morally wrong when they got caught doing something wrong. Meaning that, let's say we go pilfer things from a bank. I don't know, we can say that word on, we go purloin things from a bank, right? And then we both get caught. Now, we're already robbers. We're already people who don't have high moral character. But I'm expecting somebody who would literally have taken people's lives to get money that doesn't belong to them to hold to this other code over here that says, don't tell on me if we get caught, which is a lesser issue. So all it is people that have the power to go, well, we think that that's worse than we were doing together. So it's okay if you take from people who had nothing to do with anything. That's okay in our code. But you can't tell the authorities that you did it. That's way worse. Booga, 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 booga. This is crazy. So all it is now if he would have had the power and then they would be to call him a snitch, because what are they gonna do about it? It's the stronger telling the weaker, your morality sucks compared to mine.
Can I say something on that? It's all in context to me. So you're talking about, like, I guess, the weaker, the stronger, what's worse, what's better. If you're like talking about like the streets, right? How the streets handle stuff. I guess, is that kind of what we're talking about? Is it snitching according to that, or is it snitching by definition? Because in context, I don't think, I could be wrong.
Well, hold on. That's a good question to get some clarification, because let's get Fresh and Will to answer Maverick.
Did I guess?
Can you repeat it?
I guess the point is like, if we're talking about snitching, let's use it in context, right? This is more of like, we're not talking about classroom snitching or the Webster definition of snitching. We're talking about the street code and what snitching is. Out here in these streets, if my neighbor does something to me, I'm telling, right? It's different. We're not in the streets. This is normal day-to-day life. But in the streets, it's a different kind of situation if I'm involved in a crime. So if I'm involved in a crime on the streets, that's where snitching means something. If I'm on the outside and I'm a witness, that's not snitching. I'm a witness to a crime, right? I'm not involved in it. If we're going to talk about the code of the code of snitching in the streets. So when it comes to this, I guess that's the question I guess he wanted to ask y'all that I stated. Snitching by the streets or snitching by Webster? Is that kind of what you're saying, Enos?
Well, my issue with even the definition, the street definition you're saying, is that's pretending like the streets is one monolithic structure.
Hold on, you don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with what snitching on the streets is. That's just what it is, whether you agree with it or not.
No. What I'm saying is it's not. I'm disagreeing with. That's not what it is. Anybody who's been around the streets and around street people, it's contradictory. That's why I mentioned Italian mafia movies in the streets. You know, then you get into the Crips and Bloods and LA versus Memphis versus that. You talk to guys on the street, their definitions of snitch from these guys with the poor education systems is not what these eloquent men on here are saying.
Well,
it's going to be all over the place.
So what's the contradiction, if I may, for clarity of myself and the audience? What do you call the contradiction of street snitching?
So
between street people, between only people that are in the street.
What I'm saying is the person who has the power of maybe the powers and population, they got more people on their side about what the definition is. They dictate to the weaker people what snitching is that benefit their situation. For instance, right? So let's say that I'm a drug dealer, you're a robber. We don't do any business together. I sell drugs, you rob people, right? And so the thing is, and I tell on you for doing that, you tell on me for doing that. We can lay each other stitches, even though we have no interaction. We haven't agreed on anything together. I don't believe in robbing. You don't believe in selling drugs. We have nothing in common. We don't agree on nothing. We're not the same streets. No, but if I tell on you, you'll call me a snitch, and if you tell on me, I'm gonna call you a snitch.
But that's more of like honor amongst thieves, right? If we're all out here doing crime, it's like, I'm not gonna, crap on you. You're not gonna crap on me. Whether the crime is right or wrong, that's not the conversation, right? So there also is an honor amongst thieves, right? So that also plays into the street. So if I'm a thief and you're a drug dealer, you're hustling over there, I'm hustling over here. I have, in the streets world, I have no business interfering in what you're doing or snitching to do anything like that, right? Now, if I am...
Hold on, let Vulcan good time. You want to address that?
Again, Maverick, it's not that I don't agree that that's a definition in there. I'm just saying, if the streets was an organization with the SOP or some kind of procedure or protocol, I would agree. Street people are going to say different things in different areas to suit different purposes, is my point. So you're making the streets some type of structure that has a set standard or guideline. That's not it.
But see, it does have a standard and guideline. And just because it has a standard and guideline doesn't mean that people abide by the code. That's why people are punished.
But you're saying the code, justice. Again, the code. If you talk to Cameron, you talk to the real Rick Ross. The real Rick Ross says the name of the game in the streets is to snitch on somebody before you get snitched on. That's his words.
Thus, why there's normally punishments for stuff like that, and ain't that guy locked up for?
That's not widely agreed upon though. That's an opinion of somebody who was in the game, but that's a singular person. That's a minority of people who agreed that that's the case. He may be right, but he's also a civilian now. That's an outsider definition, and is right, it's correct and true, but that's not the widely accepted definition of a snitch or the perspective of what snitching is or how it impacts the community.
Are you talking about the impact of the community, or are you just talking about snitching in general? Because those are, again, two different conversations. So, I mean, and
then you said the impact of the community, or what was that?
I was just saying he's bringing up the impact of the community, and I thought we are just basically trying to figure out what is snitching.
I meant the criminal community.
Okay.
Little THE.
But the criminal community and the streets aren't the same thing either. Again, what is the streets? You know, we keep using these ambiguous terms that just mean something
criminal
wise.
Yeah, criminal. You just don't snitch on somebody that's doing
You're
crime.
only a criminal if you get caught.
No, you're a criminal just because you're doing criminal activity.
It's not true.
You're
a convicted criminal if you get caught.
Yeah, you're a criminal just because you're doing criminal activity, whether you get caught or not.
I'm a criminal.
Okay,
yes.
now we're splitting hairs though. We're not even talking about.
All right, so you got Fresh say yes.
Y'all see the variation on the streets right there?
No. Hold on. Now we're just trying to argue, right? So again, yes, you're a criminal.
Reductio ad absurdum. I'm taking the argument and reducing it to its ridiculousness. That's a logical ploy to show that people's arguments are invalid by reductio ad absurdum. I'm going to put that on the screen. I'm I'm reducing the argument to the ridiculous to show that it's not logically you can't use it because it doesn't work across the board.
Well, then what Fresh said is correct. If you jaywalk, are you a criminal? Yes, you're not a convicted criminal, but you did commit a crime because you broke a law. So by definition, are you a criminal for jaywalking? Yes, you're a criminal. A misdemeanor, but it's still a crime. Now you didn't get caught. So you're not if I speed, am I a criminal? Yes, I'm speeding. Did I get caught? No, I didn't get caught. I'm not even guilty until I go to court and they say I'm guilty, right? Because I haven't done, I can murder somebody. Doesn't mean I murder someone. No, I haven't gotten caught and convicted.
Well, so now you did murder that person.
Well, just
you're not convicted. No, but I allegedly murdered the person.
Criminal is a legal term, everybody.
Correct. Crime, the intentional commission of an act unusually deemed socially harmful or dangerous, and specifically defined, prohibited, and punishable under criminal law.
Yeah.
So you don't. This doesn't say convicted.
Go ahead, Freshly.
What I was saying is the first thing is specifically defined, prohibited, and punishable. That means it's a crime when you commit it.
The action, not the
action itself, because it's defined as a crime or when you commit.
No, we're not defining the word
crime.
Sorry. We're not defining the word crime. A criminal is a legal term that somebody's convicted of committing a crime. Criminal is somebody who's convicted. So my only point is not saying that I have a better definition than Maverick, because I don't, or a better definition than Freshly or Will or Derek. I'm just saying that you can't say street or crime or whatever it is, like not crime, street or whatever the other term was, snitch, like it's some kind of universal definition amongst the streets.
But there is.
Streets is defined differently by different people, and so is snitch.
All right, the mode of argumentation of the form of our argument in which a proposition is disproven by the following implications logically to an absurd conclusion. Arguments that use universal such as always, never, everyone, nobody, etc. are prone to being reduced to absurd conclusion. Their fallacy is the argument that could be reduced to absurdity. So in essence, how do you pronounce that?
Reductio ad absurdum
is a technique to expose the fallacy.
But
the Merriam-Webster definition of criminal is relating to, involving, or being a crime, relating to crime, or to the prosecution of suspects in a crime.
Yes.
Which means you don't need to be convicted. It's relating to crime or to the persecution of suspects in a crime.
Or it means adding on.
I'm going to maintain that it's a legal thing.
You can't say, hold on. The definition literally said one thing, and now you can't say I'm not going to split hairs.
Again, I just don't want to get into a definition battle online. I got dictionaries I can pull up too, but is that what we want to do for the rest of the show?
It's the same.
You're the one who introduced the definition.
Do you want me to go back and forth with Webster and Oxford and encyclopedias and etymologies right now? I don't mind doing it if Enos wants the show to be that.
But you literally just said you defined it as something.
I'm maintaining that the definition of criminal is you have to be convicted of a crime.
All right, cool. Let's go with that. Let's go with that to move forward. Okay, cool. You're right. It's being convicted of a crime. Cool.
I'm not agreeing to disagree. I don't mind moving forward, but I disagree.
I disagree too, but I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth about it, because even in the conversation when you gave your analogy.
All right, hold on. Well, Maverick and Fresh, just express what y'all disagree. What's the disagreement?
When Vulcan gave his analogy or whatnot about jaywalking, the answer is still yes. So you didn't prove anything wrong by that analogy, actually. So I mean, I get it.
But what are you disagreeing about? Let's make that clear for the audience.
Disagreeing
what
on
are
the
criminal is
criminal.
someone.
Oh, definition. Okay, all right.
Criminal is someone
definition of a criminal.
does a crime.
All right, hold on.
So go to an official law book if we're gonna do the dictionary, not somebody who doesn't specialize in that field. We're gonna put up a legal book. It's like if we're gonna talk about psychology, we can go to the psychological books.
All right, show of hands. Who want to show?
I don't think we should do all that, but
we shouldn't. I openly disagree with, but it doesn't make or break the conversation. We can solve a great conversation with different definitions of criminal.
All right, let me get some comments in here. Help the Bear says, "He without sin among you, let them cast the first stone at her." This quote is from the Bible, John 8:7. We all criminals. At Vulcan.
My fault. I won. I lost.
All right. So look, let me ask y'all this: Should hip hop norms influence how Drake managed legal/business matters?
No.
Let's go with Derek.
No.
All right.
Will. Hold on real quick. I'm seeing comments. Are the comments from Facebook showing up on
Oh yeah. Shout out to the comments. I got one right here from Ernest Banks. It says, I got it on my other tab. It says, "Snitch is a tattletale, someone who informs on others. You don't need the variations. It's just used in context. Even someone who informs someone that is somebody. Informs someone that it's someone's birthday when they are keeping quiet. Who ate my pie out the refrigerator? No crime."
I always gonna have fresh reading them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Enos off that.
You skipping words.
I did.
You skipping whole words, my guy.
Should we go over it again?
No.
Nah, we got the gist of it. What's the next comment?
We read it along with you, so we figured it out. We need to get you that. We need to get you that Shaquille O'Neal ball that just goes.
Hey, yo, he said the bouncing
I
ball
grew up
is
on that.
crazy word.
God damn, hooked on phonics, my nigga. It's all jokes, man.
That was hey, you know what though? I remember that Mad TV Air Spears did a couple parodies on that. That's hilarious, man. But
jeez,
but I ain't mess with y'all, man.
We have any more comments, or that was the only one?
For the sake of the show, we have no more comments. We're not reading any more comments. Okay? We're good.
No more comments at the moment.
Yeah, we're good.
Jeez. You sure? You know?
We got some more.
Where you from? Where you from?
Vulcan, let them know.
I'm from San Antonio.
Scared.
I'm joking.
Where you from?
I'm joking.
Where you from?
Oh man.
Yeah, because if you was from San Antonio, I was gonna say you reading like you're from Sam Houston or something.
Enos came up during the time period where black people weren't allowed to go to good schools. Man, chill.
I'm a victim of white supremacy. So
there we go.
Proper schooling.
He wasn't homeschooled by choice. He was homeschooled by necessity. God.
Oh my God.
All right,
before the Brown board education, huh? Jeez.
Shout out to
he called you uneducated and old. Brown versus Board of Education in the 1900s.
I don't think he's uneducated. You need some glass. You need to get some glass. We need to go to Walgreens and get you the twos, the plus twos.
You might be right because I'm not wearing my glasses. So
we at that age.
Oh my God.
We at that age.
We need to get you the plus two.
Oh my God.
Get the plus two, sir.
You know, the older you get, you can't see up close. They said what?
That's because you ain't eat carrots. Don't put that on old people.
Yeah, don't put that on old people.
I still got 20/20 vision.
Yeah, look at Derek's face, man. Come on, he's holding it in.
All right, so back to the question: should hip hop doors influence how Drake managed legal/business matters? Let's go with Maverick.
Hold on, Enos, can you do something for me real quick? Can you go back to Derek? His screen. Can you bring it up real quick? And I just have a quick question. Did anybody else think that was Dr. Dre? Or is that just me? Like, real quick, go to it. I was like, man, y'all got Dr. Dre on here. That's kind of dope. I was like, this is big time. Y'all going viral with Dre. That's what's up, man. I just thought you were Dr. Dre for a second. I'm not even trying to be funny though.
All right. So question. What do you think? Yes or no?
I can't read it again. I got like.
Come on, man.
No, I was infatuated with Dr. Dre real quick. I was like, that nigga is Dr. Dre. I wasn't even listening to you.
You killing me.
I
All
was
right, should hip hop
mesmerized.
noise influence how Drake managed legal / business matters?
Should they? No. Will they? Yes. That's my answer.
All right, let's go with let's go with shot back on the screen. Let's go with Fresh.
Yes.
All right, Will. All
Yes.
right, so and Vulcan. You muted.
Yes, it should influence it, but the weight is not greater than his ultimate goal financially.
Mm-hmm.
More comments, Fresh. We need you right now. More comments.
For Jamie James says, for Drake to be that comfortable with telling Kendrick to call him a pedophile, tailor-made, which is the name of the song, the diss song, makes me believe Drake had an expectation that UMG would censor Kendrick. It's a good point.
It's the business deal.
Drake did kind of jump out the window on a lot of his songs. So the fact that he's suing now, it does kind of indicate, at least from a speculation standpoint, that he thought there was going to be
someone didn't follow the rules.
Yeah, he thought there was going to be some protection there. And
all right, let's get back to Derek. Derek, should hip hop norms influence how Drake managed legal / business matters? You said, what was your answer again? You muted. You said no. Can you explain why?
I'm answering from this perspective. In the absence of God, there are no rules. When you ain't got God, and it for them guys, it's all about their money. You messing with my money, I'm good to do whatever I got to do to stop that pain or whatever whatever happens. So no, I don't see it that way.
All right, Will.
Oh yeah. I already said yeah. I think so.
Yeah, explain why.
Well, we're talking about legal and business matters. You know what I mean? And we're talking about hip hop. So I think a lot of times when we're talking about hip hop, we only deal with the aspect of the MC / rapper. Like hip hop is so much more broad than that. And, it's a whole philosophical approach. It's a whole education system, man. People go out and they do lectures about this. So if he's really of the culture, if he's a cultured man indoctrinated in, what hip hop is, which really doesn't get a lot of shine as far as teaching its essence, then his legal and business matters would fall, would fall in line with that. You see what I'm saying? Like if you're going to do things on a legal front, then you would be fighting for certain things, positivity and things like that. If you're going to handle business, then you're going to be building and trying to educate and spread knowledge, which is allegedly one of the pillars of this thing we call hip hop. So he would be trying to spend time with his money, maybe building, schools, trying to educate, teach. It would be a lot of positivity going on, and that's what hip hop nurtures. So he would keep these things in mind.
But whenever just for the artist, I just want you to go ahead and make it more concise. If you could just give a answer less than 10 seconds of
wrap
why.
it up, B.
Wrap it up. And then, yes, just for the audience, so you can catch us up to why. If you could shorten it just now.
Oh, my bad. We missed that. What happened? I'm sorry.
Nah, he was just saying.
I was about to move on to Matt, but I just want to make sure you made your point really clear.
Oh yeah. Pretty much, man. We're talking about hip hop, and then there's legal and business matters. I mean, you move a certain way, man. If you're of the culture, and I think was the whole point in this battle. You know that a battle is not a problem in hip hop to go and sue somebody. And I think Kendrick had his post on the culture to say, "Yo, I'm what the culture is feeling." That let me know he really studied the game. He's a student. He's involved in the culture, and the way Drake moves, that's off of a battle, which has been a staple in this culture and what we do. It's weird.
It's weird.
They
actually said division within the community. You got a lot of people agreeing what he's doing that's for the culture, and then you got people that's pro-business agree with us. So we actually create a division within our culture. Let's get Maverick in.
I like what he doing. Oh, my bad. I like what he doing, but retroactively doing it is not genuine at
So you
all.
disagree. All right, well, let's go, Maverick.
I just think times have changed, man. When everyone out here is about their money, you could talk about basketball players. The competition nature is different because it's not about me being better than you. It's about let's all get this bag together. So I think even with hip hop, when you have some of the music that's out there, it's not about making the best music. It's about let's go through and say these buzzwords. Let's say drip and
just like I said, we got other questions. The question is, should hip hop norms influence Drake?
I already answered that question.
Okay.
I said should it? It shouldn't, but will it? Yes, it will.
Okay. All right. Let's bring in Fresh.
I'm going to say yes, it is. Again, once you align yourself with certain aspects of hip hop, i.e., the street life, you do need to abide by those rules. Even in terms of business, right? If you sell work, if you move work on the block, and somebody hit your stash house, or somebody hit the trap, you don't call the police on them. Could you? 100%, but you don't. You go get your get back via street justice. Right now, Drake is in a rap beef, so his get back should be in the form of rapping. As soon as he decided to take it outside of rap and go into the legal forum, he broke code because that's not what we're doing.
Real quick,
and I wonder this too. I wonder where this is going. I wonder if they're gonna start doing this in the rap battle league. That's gonna be crazy.
It's real quick.
Hold on, Maverick. Just hold your thought and let me get Vulcan in there, and then you can go after that.
So yeah, I really just don't like what I'm hearing for the most part. I mean, it goes to Derek's point about if we're not talking about some kind of theocracy here, then it's all just the wild, wild west. And so what's happening, I don't know if y'all can hear me really well, but what's happening right now is, I just heard Fresh say abide by street rules. So once you do that, then you need to uphold that. But it's like, okay, you have the normal rules we all hold to, right? And we can jump in and out of that, like jaywalking, speeding, whatever you want to say, as we please. And nobody says, well, hold on, once you agree to that, you got to do it all the way. But why do we have this adoration for street rules that, no, if you're going to do that, you got to be 100%? Like, where did the culture convince us?
Is that adoration or adherence?
That's what we're talking about.
I didn't say I agree with the street rules. I just recognize them as such.
Yeah, that's the conversation.
And sorry, if I communicated that you agreed, that's not what I was trying to say. What I'm saying is,
that's not what you said.
Huh?
Go ahead.
If I said that you said that you agree with them, that's not what I meant to say.
You said we, so is the we you're talking about us or just the entire community?
I think what you're doing actually, like, and then not to go back and forth, but you're bringing up a context that shouldn't even be brought up, right? Because we're talking about the streets. So when we're talking about so I'm just saying. So when we're talking about the streets, we gotta understand the context that we're talking about. So bringing God into this conversation, then that changes. We're not talking about street, we're talking about what can make the streets better or fix. But when we're talking about street rap and beef, we have to talk about street rap and beef and keep it in that context as opposed to talking about other things.
Okay, but Maverick,
changing the context.
Do you understand what the point that I'm making?
Yes, like when you're talking about, just as Dre said, right? When you remove, God out of the conversation, you just have a bunch of chaos, anarchy, and it doesn't make sense. But we're talking about a situation that's not supposed to make sense. So we have to talk about it.
Did Vulcan, did he explain your point?
Dr. Dre said that.
Hold on, Maverick. Hold on, Fresh. Hold on, both of y'all. Did Maverick still mean your point, Vulcan?
That was more of one of my premise to my point. I was saying that in light of what Derek's saying, as far as yes, if we're not under a theocracy, then we're talking about this man-made stuff, which to Maverick's point, you have street rules and you have the normal code of ethics that all of us are expected to adhere to as law-abiding citizens within the Americas, right? But what I'm saying is, I never hear somebody say, "Hey, look, if you're gonna hold to the rules of being an American, then you need to do that all the way." Why is it I only hear that when we're talking about street codes and street rules?
Because we're talking about street shit.
That's what I mean. But when we're not talking about street stuff, I never hear anybody say it. When we're not talking street, we're talking about regular law-abiding stuff. Nobody says, "Hey, if you're gonna live that, you got to hold to that." Now,
You
we
don't
never
ever hear
do
that?
that with that, but we hear it with the street stuff.
I mean,
All right, so ask the
Why is
question.
why is our reverence for the street code being adhered to so high compared to the normal rules that they're breaking? They're violating these rules. They're violating regular rules that we all hold to, and we don't be like, no, you got to hold to that, even if it contradicts your street rules. Why are we giving so much reverence to the street rules that it needs to be adhered to if you're going to do it at all?
All right, Maverick, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. I want Fresh to respond to that, and then you can go after him. Where Fresh will respond.
One, there is a governing body for mandated laws that let you know what you can and can't get away with. So when you're talking about laws of the land, you can go to court and the court will say, hey, this is cool and this is not. So there are variations and gray areas in law that can be exploited. The way that the code of the street was written, one, it is unofficial, so there is no governing body per se, but there are people who originally stood it up. There are the originators. There are people who gave us the code, if you will, who set the standard. Now you're talking about variations and almost bastardizations of the law. To your point, people do tend to change up the definition of what snitching is or what ratting is, when it does or does not benefit them, but that doesn't change the definition. That's a variation or an interpretation, which you can still do even in the the American justice system, the American court of law. You get your lawyer who can interpret
I think you're misunderstanding what my point is, and maybe because I'm not doing a great job of explaining it. So what I'm saying is this right here. When you have a quote-unquote street dude, right? He observes certain quote-unquote normal laws, and he observes certain street codes, right? On the street code side, we say, hey, if you're going to do that, you got to do that 100%. But he was originally part of the regular code. Why don't we tell him he's got to be 100% on that? Why only on the street side? And let's make it a civilian now. So you got a civilian who has some street things they do from time to time, and they have certain regular people civilian things they do from time to time. If that civilian tries to stick their foot in the street, what do we say? You got to be 100% or don't be in it all.
Right, but that's because it's a subculture. Yeah, but it's a subculture.
Let's get Maverick, and then I want Will to chime in.
It has a separate set of laws, rules, and that you abide by. When you're talking about American culture, we're talking about the culture of law. Everyone is subject to those laws.
Well, so first, I want everybody to get a chance. Maverick, if you could respond, if you could do it in less than 10 seconds. I want everybody around involved in this conversation. So go ahead, Maverick, and then Will after.
Finish that last part of your sentence first, because you're probably going to say the same thing I was about to say if you can. I'm just saying there's different when you step into a subculture. That subculture generally has different laws that you abide by. So especially when that subculture is based upon operating outside the laws of the land. No. So
all right, if that's not your point, hold on, man. If that's not your point,
hold on.
What is your point?
Hold on, maybe Will and Derek will hit it.
Hold on.
All right, let's get. I'm sorry about that, man. You talk. Will and Derek hasn't talked as much. Let's get Will in first.
Can I please my point real quick? No. Okay.
All right, go ahead, Maverick. Go ahead, and then we're gonna get Will.
No, I was gonna say, like, as Vulcan talks about like what gives us the right to go by. He didn't say this verbatim, but it's the person, right? So if I want to live in the street life, like that's what I'm doing. It's not what you tell me or be like, oh, I go by your street code, but what about this other code and the real code, right? I choose to live that life. I chose to abide by these rules because I'm adapted into this. So it's like, I hear what you're saying. Like, why are we saying that? Okay, why are we allowing him to go by the street laws as opposed to go about his civilian laws? Why do we dismiss? We don't dismiss any of that. That's what he chooses to do. So if he is in the streets, as we're talking about Drake, which I don't think this is a street beef anyway, so I don't think this even goes in the whole realm of street justice or whatever you want to call it. But if he decides to live by the streets, you live by the streets, you die by the streets. It's how you live.
All right,
it's not that we're being like, oh, well, what I see you do your street stuff, but what about the civilian stuff? I'm gonna hold you by that. But he doesn't hold himself to that.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's bring Will in here. Address Vulcan's point. Or what are your thoughts about the whole dialogue? You muted.
I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's me or you. I don't know.
All right, we can
All right,
hear you. Go
I'm
ahead.
good.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, man. I'm hearing all y'all, man, and it's all making sense, man. I think y'all all right, kind of in a sense, man. Y'all all making a lot of sense. For me, sometimes I think what it kind of get a little convoluted as far as the street code and this thing. Like I said, we call it hip hop. I don't think every participant of the hip hop culture is necessarily a quote unquote street person. You know what I'm saying? But they can all exist under umbrella, and like, you know, I think Vulcan and Fresh was saying kind of similarly, there can be tiers of governance in your movement and how you do based on what you're under, like your family, for instance. You go out there in the real world, somebody might be like, yo, assault is a crime. Dr. King and them will be like, yo, turn the other cheek. But then you go inside your house with your mom and them, your grandma, your aunts, they say, yo, they hit you, hit them back. You know what I'm saying? So it's I don't know if it's that anybody's necessarily wrong. And also we gotta understand, man, that hip hop is still very young. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of these conversations are helpful and healthy, but we still kind of getting this thing together in a sense. There were guys who came together and said, yo, these are the tenets and this is what we're gonna abide by, this is what we do, but you know, is new things happening. So it's like making amendments to a constitution or something, man.
All right, let's go ahead.
You got to think about
let's get Derek in
what
here.
a law is. Everyone has their breaking point. So even though everyone has a point where they are going to step outside the law or they're going to abide by the law. Speeding is breaking the law. There's so many. There are people, millions of people across around the world who decide that there's a risk worth taking. So they're risk versus reward. Even when you're talking about like street stuff, there's this. Even street dudes have a certain breaking point. Typically, is when they get in that room and the people start to throwing them years at them. Okay. They decide at that point in time, but that doesn't change the rule. That doesn't change the code. That doesn't say, okay, that's no longer the code because they're willing to break it. It's just meaning that they.
And I just feel like Drake, man. Oh, my bad, man.
I still want to bring Derek here because Derek hasn't talked a lot. A lot of people are building off your point, so go ahead, you got the floor.
Wait.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, I'm throwing that element in because that's kind of who I am, and when I look at any type of problems in the world, I'm going, man, in the absence of God, these rules are they're crazy to me. And so when Vulcan was saying what he was saying, like I get what Matt, how do you pronounce your name, brother?
You had it right, Maverick.
I totally get what he's saying, but I hear Vulcan loud and clear on a deeper level with the structure of, like I grew up in the Rigsby. We got a hood. We got a hood back in the day it was crazy here, and different places they had different methods in how they went about things.
For those of you that are not from San Antonio, Rigsby is the projects. Yeah. The Rigsby apartments are the equivalent of the projects.
Hey, you shut your mouth. I am trying.
Listen. I grew up around the corner from there. I'm just defining what the Rigsby apartments is.
Enos, did you send him the bylaws? Where's his mute button? Where is it at on here? No. But no. I actually, all of y'all making great points. But I think if we were to dial it all the way down to a root issue is that all these groups have some arbitrary things.
All right, so let's have Vulcan have the last word.
So my point on it was just simply that I hear people say things when you got somebody growing up in a certain environment, and obviously the first rules you learn from most people, unless your parents were involved in a lot of street activity, is you learn the regular rules. You learn it from just being in home with your parents. And then as you get older, you learn about can't speed. You learn about different things crossing the streets. Learn about not stealing and stuff like that, right? That's the first code you get exposed to. Then you're hanging out with your friends one day. Oh, there's another culture. There's a subculture, as Freshly eloquently pointed out. There's a subculture here. My point is, civilians and street people will be like, hey, if you're going to get in that world, you got to go 100%. They never said it with the first world. They still don't say it with the first world. They never tell people that are civilians. I never hear people on this panel tell civilians, hey, if you're going to be living that civilian life, you better be living it all the way. They never do that. They have this subconscious adherence and pedestalizing of street culture to where they say, if you're going to do that right there, it's almost like a religious adherence to it. If you're gonna do that thing over there, you gotta be 10 toes down on that.
But they do that with religion.
It's some kind of rite of passage and some type of better way of living a life than the way they were living before. That's my issue with that, with saying stuff like that.
You see how you're attacking the thing that you want. They do that with religion. They do that with sports.
I just said a religious fervor. I just said that. I agree.
No. But they do that with every with every subculture. They do it. So living a basic life is one thing, right? And I'm agreeing with you when you say that, right? But it's and then when you go, so I'm kind of agreeing with everything you said right here, right? And then when you have the subculture, that's when it's like, okay, we're doing the subculture. You got to go on because that's like a something you choose, right? So it's like if I'm choosing to do this, I'm gonna choose and do it 100%. But no one ever doesn't say don't be a good human 100%. Like no one ever says to be a normal.
I agree.
Human.
They don't say it in a negative like you just said. You're 100% right. My point is they say to the street guys, they say you better do that all the way. They don't say don't not do the good. They say you better do that all the way. On the music, even us guys who all are upstanding civilians, as far as I know, on this panel here, still give a certain credence to those who live the street life all the way. 10 toes down.
How about being a father?
What do you mean by credence? Are you? I'm just acknowledging.
I'm quoting you, Fresh. You just literally said if you're gonna abide by that, then you got to do that.
But he's talking about that specifically.
That's a religious fervor towards that. Why?
That's not a direct quote. That's fine. My point is, I'm not giving it credence. That's a recognition of that code. I didn't make that up.
But
that's not a standard.
But why do you care about that? Why are you?
That's the subject we're talking about. That's the subject we're talking about.
Why are you recognizing that code is authentic to adhere to it 100% like that?
I'm not. Listen, I'm not a street dude. I'm recognizing
you literally just said that.
Listen to this.
I'm recognizing that the street. That's the code that they hold.
So what? That's their code. Just like.
Yes, I understand. Can I not point out that that's how they operate? We're talking about that subculture.
That's not what you did. You said if you're going to be a part of that, you said you got to do it all the way. You didn't.
No, I said if you're going to align yourself with that culture, then you need to abide by those rules.
That's you. That's you submitting yourself to their code. You don't hear the linguistically.
No, that's not me submitting myself to it. That's the code of the street. That's what they said.
That's their code, not yours. But then you saying it in the way that you're adhering to it.
No, I don't adhere to it. I'm a tell. Trust me.
No, but what I'm saying is, you said if you're gonna do that, so person A, if they're gonna go to that way. You're telling them as you, the you person that's on this panel, saying you got to do it all the way. You said you got to do it all the way.
Let me clarify.
You're stating a proposition.
The code that you're abiding by says if you were going to align yourselves with what we do, then you need to align yourselves 100%.
And as Maverick said, that's that man. He may say, I got a dual code. I adhere to each one when I feel like it. Just like
I understand what you're saying. Everybody has their breaking point. I made that point earlier. You have your breaking point. That doesn't change the code. Just because you decide where you want to deviate from that code, it doesn't change the code. It doesn't change the structure. If this is the rule and you decide I don't want to follow that rule 100%. I want to follow it 90%. That doesn't change the rule because you did it. Even if you get away with it, that doesn't change the law. If you speed, that's a risk you're taking. You can't argue that. Hey,
I think it's still some misunderstanding.
I don't recognize the laws of land when I speed. And if the cops pull you over, you broke the law. If you get caught, people speed every day and don't get caught. That doesn't now make it legal.
People speed every day, B.
Yeah, they speed every day, B. That doesn't all of a sudden make going 80 legal, even though it's practically accepted in Texas.
I mean,
Texas, they got a speed limit of 75 out there. As soon as you go 76, you are breaking the law.
But just acknowledging that the law, the rule, of the street code exists doesn't mean that you're adhering to it. He's just like acknowledging that it's a thing.
Let me read this comment real quick. Ernest Banks says street rules are just like any other set of social rules that groups of people adapt to and take on based on the area. There's not one set of street rules. The rules that people in San Antonio streets adhere to or follow are not exactly the same street rules adapted by some areas in San Francisco, so on and so forth. Just know that, as someone mentioned, there are many subcultures and the rules to play in those streets are what they are. And contrary to what people may think, those rules change, evolve, and continue.
All right, so I think Fresh and Vulcan, y'all still on both sides, different sides of the spectrum. Is it anything y'all want to say before we move on to the next question, Vulcan and Fresh?
No,
I'll just say, and I'll make this short, a minute or less. But I mean, I'm not gonna make this about me and Fresh's potential disagreement here. I'm just saying to all the people out there, you got to ask yourself, whenever those of us who are civilians, when you're watching people who are quote unquote living in the streets, and we're thinking like, oh, that guy's real, or like he keeps it 100, he's in that 100%. That's their culture. Why do you think it's some type of virtue that they're 100% and doing the wrong thing?
Ooh.
That's not about Fresh right here. I'm making this point to a bigger point for the society, because especially within our context, we seem to really worship street culture, whether we participated in it and or not. And our heroes in that world are those who adhere to those criminal rules the most and the most fervently and religiously. And I'm saying that that's part of the problem.
Worship or knowledge.
To point, I agree with that point. I don't think that we should glorify. So if you're talking about pedestalizing that culture and the subculture rules for the community, even community that are outside of that subculture, I agree with that. That's part of the problem.
All right,
that's why crime is so rampant in some of our streets, because people who are quote unquote civilians, people who are not actively participating in that subculture, adhere by those rules, which allows that subculture to flourish.
And even civilians praise those who live 100% by those street rules.
Do y'all agree with that? What Vulcan is saying, that civilians do praise the street rules? Black civilians.
Wow.
No, let's get everybody yes or no answers. Derek, do you think civilians give praises to the street rules or street guys?
Do I think civilians praise the street guys?
Praise the street guys who really fervently stick to that street code and don't waver from it.
I don't know, man.
I can answer. Can I go first? Can I go next?
Let's yes or no.
I think praising, appreciate it, praise, think it's cool, but do they live by it? Like everyone praises Scarface the character, but is everyone living by Scarface and doing what Scarface, the guy in the movie, does? No.
I don't know if you understand the question.
Look, 50 Cent just came on Breakfast Club a few years ago and said that he didn't get along with Preem and them. But what did he say about Preem? He said, one thing I can say. Go ahead, CJ. Go ahead, Will.
I was just saying he said
Will. My guy Will. Holler at me. Go ahead, Will.
Will, you muted. You muted, Will.
All right. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, man. I think it's something to be. I'm not gonna say praise, but I think y'all used a good word. No, fam. Hear me out, fam.
I was asking, did y'all hear what? I'm gonna let you finish, Will. But right. Kanye West had the greatest. No, I'm gonna let you finish. But what I'm saying is, 50 Cent on the Breakfast Club said that I didn't get along with Preem and them. I didn't like Preem. But one thing I can say about them is he never snitched on nobody. He lived it as he portrayed himself. So he gave him credence, saying because he actually did abide by the laws in the streets that he said he did. I'm saying that even civilians in the suburbs that never been around street culture still look at guys that live that way.
So we're saying 50 Cent's a civilian. We're going to use that as an example.
No, Maverick. This is the point. He's saying that the same respect that 50 had towards Preem, us civilians will give him the same respect, and we're not in the streets. That's why I'm saying the civilians still give, okay, yo, he's a real dude. He really lived that life. Civilians say the same thing the street guys are saying to the street guys. And I'm asking the panel, what Vulcan's trying to ask the panel, is that true? The civilians give high praises to guys that really live that street
Black
life.
civilians.
Black civilians, I'm sorry, black civilians. Yeah, so this is just a yes or no answer. Start with Maverick.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
Do I mean we
yes or no?
Yes, but with context.
all right. Let's go fresh.
I appreciate you, my guy.
Fresh, yes or no?
Yes.
Will, you said.
Yeah. I was gonna expand a little bit more, man, but I think
just yes or no. Just do yes or no.
All right. Yeah. They do.
All right. And Derek, you say you don't know. You got to answer.
I'm gonna listen this one out.
All right. Okay.
I'm gonna take that stance. I'm taking that stance. That's a smart answer.
You said what, Vulcan? I hear.
Will I get the chance to finish his point?
Go ahead, break it down, Will.
Oh yeah, man. I just think it's a certain admiration for what we romanticize as, this street code and this guy. Like, not everybody's living it, man. The streets is wicked. There's supposed to be certain rules, but a lot of guys is remixing, doing what they're doing. But I think living a street life versus a straight lace civilian life, trying to do everything right, abiding by the law and those codes, come with different circumstances. The stakes are a little different with each one. And I think somebody looking at an individual who can face possible death, incarceration, and of course, like we said, the snitching. If anybody get caught, a co-defendant is gonna do what he can to get less time, probably 8 to 9 times out of 10, man. A lot of these dudes is rats. But I think for the civilian looking at that, saying, hey, man, some of these guys really didn't come from, the best thing. They locked on to what they knew and they said, hey, this is what I signed up for. I'm going to walk it out. I'm going to walk it all the way out and I'm going to do it how it's supposed to go. So I think not just on the street code, I think people, I'm sorry.
I want to say this real quick because you're using the word rat and stuff like that. But what y'all got to realize, those of us who are civilians, the rat is your best friend. It's just like the CIA sends out people to Iraq and other places to collect information. To them, it's a spy. To us, you know what I'm saying, it's a government official doing their job. So when y'all call people rats, that's getting the people that are doing illegal activity put somewhere else so they're not amongst the rest of us. So we don't got to take them penitentiary chances and mortuary chances. Thank them. Don't call them rats.
No. The civilian is exempt. He's exempt. Like, I think street guys have to expect anybody that's not with you on your team with that understanding, even if they're other so-called street guys.
We got spies in their ranks.
They're probably
we got spies in those street guys' ranks, and they call them rats. We call them good Samaritans.
Wow.
Well, I think is to me some of that.
Let's draw the line, fellas. Let's draw the line.
All right. See, look, that's the thing. I would just want to say this, like, one of the biggest promoters of the street culture is hip hop, and this is, we're talking about Drake, so all this is intertwined with each other as far as hip hop.
According to Maverick, it's death metal. Not
so, a lot, and the stuff that Drake has to live up to. I think I seen somebody in the comments that said, technically Drake did take on this street persona in this hip hop world, and hip hop is one of the biggest promoters of the street culture. I want to ask everybody on this panel, when it comes to hip hop, do you hate it or love it? When it comes to hip hop, hate or love it? Yes or no? I'm gonna go around the room, and then we're gonna come back and you can explain why. So let's start with Derek.
I ain't gonna
I totally missed that, my bro.
All right, hip hop, love it or hate it? Question. Yes or no? I mean, I'm sorry, not yes or no. Do you love it or hate it? Like, which one?
I mean, if I got that choice, I hate it.
Hate it. All right, Derek says hate. Let's go with Maverick.
Love it.
All right. Derek hate, Maverick love. We're gonna come back around. Fresh hate or love it?
I'm gonna go ahead and plead the fifth, man.
Plead the fifth. Wow. Okay. All right. Will. Love or
Man, I
hate it?
think y'all already know my answer, man. I think y'all already know my answer, man. You know I'm super pro. What's not to love? What is not to love?
Okay, I'm expecting that. I'm excited to hear your answer on that.
Good question.
So vote. So
Post that for
Vulcan.
later on. What's not to love about hip hop culture?
There
We
you
can have a
go.
whole different show about that.
All right,
Let's do
Vulcan.
it. Let's do it.
Yeah, now y'all know I got a verse on this, but we ain't gonna get into all that.
Nah, it's love it or hate it. Which one, brother?
Yeah. I'm gonna go
You gotta go all the way.
hate it.
Real quick, Derek. Bane, you used to hoop. Tangent. You used to hoop at the church.
Yes.
All right. I was like, I was like, ooh, I remember you. I remember you back in the day. They used to call you Jawbone. I had one of those moments where I remember you from. So Bane taught me on the pull up. You ain't always got to pull up in front of your face to pull up on the side of you, because you pull up in front of you. Easy to make the easy block. I do that to this day, and I teach people that because of you, Bane.
They hit you on the arm, or you get your shot off. It's one of the two.
Yeah, you ain't got to bring in a friend. You pull up from the side. That was that moment. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Derek, he looks cool. GQ with the shades. Y'all know this man had like a 55-inch vertical. And I'm just
Bane was close. Bane was you know who? No, sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So let's start with Derek. Explain your reasons. You know, you can't keep less than 30 seconds. Explain your reasons why you hate hip hop.
I mean, Doc, obviously there are gonna be songs that I like. There are gonna be certain stuff, but when I look at it as a culture, it for me, since I am a man of God, then I have to put that in as my reason. For me, there's nothing in there that glorifies God at all. I mean, it's entertainment. It is what it is. And for most that live that as a lifestyle, it's a tough one. It's a tough lifestyle. So if I have a choice between love it and hate it, then I got to hate it.
And that's why we wanted to ask this question, because I was researching a lot of stuff that Drake was going through, and the audience, so the hip hop fans was split. A lot of people was hating what he was doing. A lot of people loved what he was doing. So I think that's a good question to ask everybody on this panel. Maverick, can you explain why you love it?
It's a culture, right? It's you're talking about hip hop culture, hip hop music, same thing, right? I could just go on hip hop, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a bitter and the sweet, right? Is there a lot of bitter in it? Like I think so, right? There's a lot of things we don't like about it, but it doesn't take away what's beautiful in it. It's a lot of people look at it from the outside in, not saying that Bane is not part of the hip hop culture, but his culture is bigger than hip hop. He's following the Lord, right? That's where he's at in his life. Mm-hmm. But then from being from the outside looking in, now you have the negativity bias. You know, you're going to hear the negative is going to be louder than the positive.
I get that, but I just want to make sure we focus on why you love hip hop. Let's just make sure we focus on that and moving around.
But that's what it is, right? Like I see it differently than other people, right? Not saying that I'm right and someone else is wrong, but it's gonna have its bitter, it's gonna have its sweet. But overall, hip hop is, and that culture is how I brought up. That is Saturday mornings listening to the OJs. That is. So would you say the reason? Well, we still gotta get the why. I know you, and that's good. You give your experiences. It is the Saturday morning waking up listening to the OJs. It is the come in before the street lights come on. It is what I listened to when I made NHS when I was in high school, or listening to Run DMC Tough and Leather for the first time, and the Beastie Boys. Like hip hop it's music, right? So when I hear it and think about it, it plays with my emotions, not negatively all the time.
All right, well, that's good. You know, we got to move it on. But I do like your point that you said that it's a lot of your experiences, though, the way you grew up on Saturday mornings. That's good, and it plays with your emotions, so that's a good why too. Let's get with let's let Will come in.
Yeah, man.
As far as why you love it.
Oh, okay. I think the hate and the negativity that, for me, loving it so much and trying to stay in tune with what it is versus what the perception and what the marketing strategy of it is created, in essence, from what I was told and from the guys that were there and that put these staples in place for us to even have a name to call it. You know, the guys who put it down, the Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation, okay? He was the first guy to do it and say, yo, these are the tenements. And it's kind of been added on since then. KRS, a few other guys.
I get the history, but right now, I just want to focus on you. Why you love it, though?
I think because it's all inclusive, number one, you know. It's so far, I think, probably the highest form we got because it's such a fusion of all the sounds. There's no sound absent of it. You understand what I'm saying? Like that is something you can listen to and say, yo, I hear, you know, merengue or something in this track. Yo, this Nelly did, you know, songs dealing with country musicians. You hear all of that blended into hip hop, and it also is heavily sample based. You know, at its inception, it gives a lot of younger kids reference points of guys to look to and put them on other sounds. And I just think, man, is probably the only genre that come with. Oh, my bad.
I do want to interject because that's a good point. Because we have to admit that this is the only form of music that do sample all genres of music. Because I learned Phil Collins through listening to Pac. I might have heard Phil Collins, but staring through my life through my rear view, it reverted me back to a lot of the pop songs, the hip hop songs. So that's something that that's a good point. Let's get fresh in here as far as well, you said anonymous, right? Or
I definitely did not say anonymous.
Yeah,
I
I'm sorry.
plead the fifth. The reason I plead the fifth is just because on one hand, hip hop as a culture and as a musical art has empowered people that look like me probably more than anything in the world outside of professional sports. And if I'm being honest, it might be more so than professional sports because you don't need to be elite at it to be successful. Now, on the other hand, it also has degraded.
Shout out to Soulja Boy.
Hey, I think Soulja Boy is elite though, based on his accomplishments. I don't think he's an elite rapper, but in terms of hip hop, Soulja Boy is the tippity top.
Yeah, he's one of the first
YouTube
stars. Yeah, YouTube stars.
But on the other hand, hip hop as a culture and as a musical genre has also degraded so many things about the culture that are moral and upstanding. So that's why I pled the fifth, because I don't hate it or love it, because I recognize in terms of community that it both benefits and takes away from the overall culture.
All right, and that's good. You know, and we said this. We actually said this. This is part two for the audience that's watching. This part two of hip hop. I said at the end of the last episode that I hate that I love it. Right. My reasons, as an impressionable child at one time, I hated. I loved the music, but I hated that it screwed my perception how I view the world. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean when I say I hate I love. There's other reasons. I think overall it's good music, but overall it's more of a detriment to our community than it's more negative than it is positive, you know.
Hey, Enos, if you don't mind me asking, brother, I mean to cut you off, but change how you view the world in what way, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, we talked about this we talked about this on the last episode, just how I viewed authority at one time, how I viewed what they call the powers that be, promoting anti-establishment, right? getting involved in that. You see what I'm saying? And really, it was probably better me to pursue the same goals the civil rights had, the promissory notice. You see what I'm saying? That's just one thing. I got some other ones. I want to get Vulcan here, but because some of my instances, some of these questions we're going to deal with, so I just leave it right there. But for the main reason, just how I viewed the rebellion stage that I went through, I think as impressionable kids, the hip hop was a soundtrack that supported my rebellious views, how I looked at, just authority, not just this country, but my parents and et cetera, you know what I mean? So let me bring Vulcan here.
Everybody else has already given their perspective?
Wait a minute. Yes, everybody.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, I look at hip hop like I look at Long John Silver's or McDonald's. I'm not saying I never go there, but I hate myself for it. And the reality is, I'm going to make a delineation here between hip hop and rap. Rapping, whether it's rhythm and poetry, if you take that definition of it, the medium you're using to convey the message, whether you're using rhyme and meter and assonance to communicate a message, I love that. I love figurative language. I love metaphors, double entendres, similes, foreshadowing. I love all of that. So that part of rap, I love that part. Hip hop, as Will pointed out, is a subculture, and it has different tenets, from graffiti to dance to the fifth element being knowledge of self, which I disagree with.
Hey man, b-boy, not just dance, right?
Yeah, dance, but the knowledge of self, KRS-One's version of it, I don't agree with his version of knowledge of self. So I'm making a distinction between rap, which I do love, and hip hop, which is a subculture that has, and like all cultures cultivate. Cultures cultivate, right? So what is it cultivating you to? It's not all bad, but some of the things that hip hop cultivates you to is materialism, self-worship, poor people bashing, the destruction of the family, immodesty, anti-establishment. And notice, audience, I haven't mentioned anything about drugs or taking people's lives or anything like that. Even the more quote-unquote benign elements of hip-hop that you see in the music is things that destroy the family, specifically the black family. Because to everybody else, it's a video game. To us, it's real life. And so my point is saying that, yes, that's why I detest hip-hop, although I do love rap. And even within some music that I don't agree with, the general themes, I can enjoy the art form and be like, that guy said that awful thing very well.
Why is it not the other way around for you? My bad, fam.
Go ahead, Will.
Oh, no, I was saying, why is it not the other way around, whereas you love hip hop? Because I always feel like rap falls under the hip hop umbrella. Like rap is, and you say you love rap. So if you love rap, the only thing left in the hip hop is, the DJing, the b-boying, the graffitiing.
Yeah, I don't agree with graffiti.
That's five different things.
Yeah, graffitiing is
and that's criminal. That's hip hop. That is all hip hop.
Yeah,
he's saying he don't like enough aspects of hip hop.
Yes.
To choose love. He loves one aspect, the MC aspect of it. All the other things for him they outweigh it.
You don't like a fly DJ?
No. Again, I don't mind some good instrumentals. That's fine. I don't mind good instrumentals.
The Cabbage Patch?
Yeah, and I don't mind the Cabbage Patch. But
the stanky leg.
But graffiti, Will, Derek, Fresh, Maverick, Enos, graffiti
is illegal.
It's defacing of public property before it became cool and a genre of style for artistry. It was illegal. That's his roots. So yes, I disagree with that. Now, me not being somebody who owned huge buildings and train stations at that time, I probably could care less because it doesn't hurt me. But it still wasn't right. So yes, I don't enjoy that part, even though now we have legal versions of graffiti as a style.
So you don't like it because of its illegal nature at the time or even now?
No, the spirit of it is anti-establishment. That's why they would make something okay like that in the first place.
So you don't like it because it's anti-establishment. Hold on. So see, hold on. So
is it anti-establishment or is it trying to get something established?
No.
I'm
Yes,
a little
it's trying to
confused on
establish
that.
anti-establishment. It's trying to establish anti-establishment.
Yeah, it's
That's what it's doing.
it's definitely an act of rebellion.
I think it's trying to establish. I think it's trying to establish a certain voice that was left from, the guys who set up.
Listen, painting was an art form before graffiti.
So graffiti.
How many graffiti artists do you know graffiti their own cribs?
Hold on,
their mother's crib.
Graffiti.
They would never do it.
Graffiti is
people. You gotta think. Well, people own
those
buildings. So just imagine somebody doing that to your parents' house or your house or your.
Like I can agree with that. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. Well, I agree that they're trying to get their voice out, but just because you're trying to do something doesn't mean that doing it illegally now makes it okay, right? I want to be heard. I want to get my voice out, right? You could say that about any number of terrorists, and I'm not trying to equate hip hop with terrorism, but I'm saying those terrorists' intentions are to be heard. We want our cause to be heard and recognized, so we're gonna damage some things that people care about, so they pay attention to us.
But
it definitely is anti-establishment.
But with that being
there's
said,
protesting in the streets, though. If things happen during a protest or a riot to be heard, I don't think that negates the message that they want to convey.
No, it doesn't negate it, but it also doesn't. It doesn't negate the message, but it also doesn't legitimize it either. Again, you're doing something illegal to be heard. That doesn't now make it okay to do. It just means that you decided to do something radical enough, right, to be heard. But it still is seen as radical. It's still like you went outside of the law so you can be heard. It's still outside of the law. Still wrong.
I agree. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the result. How do you feel about the result? Even though the means may be illegal, what do you think about the result of that angst and that desire to be heard? And if you're in a protest, buildings get broke. What do you think about the result that they're attempting to achieve? Maybe through, lack of know-how or education to do it another way. Not saying that these people are ignorant and not know how it goes on, but I'm saying like the movie John Q. I don't have a problem with what John Q did, even though it was wild. He did a wild thing. But the end result of what John Q wanted to do.
John Q went to jail, though. He was punished.
This is out of desperation.
Now, again, I'm not in agreement with, the ends justifying the means. Is it the means justifying the end or the end justifying the means? I'm not in agreement with that when it puts other people and their welfare in jeopardy. Now, my thing is, if there is a safe and peaceful way to do it, then I think it should be done. So if you go out and protest in the streets, there are protests that have happened without any damage. That means it's possible, right? So that doesn't take away from the message that people who damage public property and things. That doesn't take away from that message. That means they decided not to do it the best way.
All right,
let's
get Derek in. Derek haven't said nothing in a while. What's your thoughts on this whole thing?
I'm still on the fence, Doc. As I listen to y'all, I can't take my brain off of where I am in my thinking with God. So it's like
that's a valuable perspective, Derek. You gotta add that, man.
All right, well, here's the thing. I'm just gonna say whatever.
We'll get to those, man. As soon as we get done.
I see it, Maverick.
I think the culture can be very, 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 very hard for somebody to come into the knowledge that is truly beneficial to them. Now, I know people that don't believe what I believe are going to say, well, Derek, that's your opinion. I'm like, well, okay. But at the end of the day, when we all stand before that one person, it's going to be everybody's idea at that point. So I would rather say to anybody that's listening, yo, man, that ain't the way. Yeah, you can like some music, you can beat to bop or whatever, but as far as a culture and something you should follow, y'all know what song I'm about to sing. Hell to the no.
All right. Shout out to Derek. All right, Vulcan. Any thoughts?
Well, shout out to Derek because I think Gangstalicious had a song saying that ain't the way as well.
Gangstalicious is crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. But yeah,
I'm a fan of his. That makes me gay too, don't it?
So
He said, "Yep."
And this is for a comment that Maverick made on part 1 and a point that Enos and I discussed over the years in life. So one thing that Maverick pointed out that I thought was really good on his part was he says, I can listen to that stuff, but it doesn't influence me in that way to do those things. And to his credit, I 100% agree with that. But the thing is that one thing about hip hop, and this goes what Will was asking Enos about, is for those of us who don't get involved in the street life based off hip hop, we become street code sympathizers and enablers. So there's
that's
tiers.
a fact.
So there's tiers. Some people, maybe the more gullible or impressionable, are going to actually get involved in that lifestyle, or they're going to tattoo their face and their necks, or get their stuff in a way to where they don't have the same social mobility in corporate, right? They can't join the military. Now I've seen that happen, unfortunately, with family members who do that stuff because they fall in love with that subculture so much, right? Now again, that's a smaller percentage. Most of the people, especially within the Black community, become street code sympathizers and enablers. One common thing I would hear my friends say growing up from middle school to high school was, man, that's all they knew. They did that bad stuff because that's all they knew. Thankfully, they come out and they realize, no, they actually didn't know. Matter of fact, that person's parents were Jehovah's Witnesses. And matter of fact, Biggie Small's mom kicked him out the house for what he was doing. So he knew better.
They grew up Catholic.
He made a conscious choice. Jay-Z said on a white British station, when the guy goes, I know you from Marcy Projects, right? Yeah. He says, well, you did that stuff because you had to, right? He goes,
no,
that's
it was for the girls.
Everybody. He said, that's what we told everybody. That was for the girls. So again, a lot of us sympathizers, not the ones in the street code, as Maverick, they sympathize and give excuses to people who do those things because they've been convinced by the stories in the music that the person had no other choice but to do those things, when that was far from the truth, especially from people that are in their 40s and 50s and 60s. Their parents were a different generation of parents, unlike us as parents. They were churchgoers. They were being told the 10 Commandments on a regular basis. They chose to go against what they were being taught by their parents, by their church, by their community leaders, and went the direction of the streets because it was told to them that was so much cooler and to be a square was lame. And that's the sympathizers that I'm referring to.
I want anybody that disagree. I just want anybody that disagree with Vulcan before we move on, and whoever disagrees, just keep it under 30 seconds. Who disagrees? Will, go ahead. Will, you're muted,
man.
My guy Will.
Keep it concise. Make sure you can do it in 30 seconds.
Man, that's hard to do under 30, bro. That's hard to do.
You can do it.
Wasted 2 seconds right there.
True.
I said a lot. Give him a minute. I said a lot.
Just let him
I'm gonna start it off like this. I mean, I find it hard to kind of grasp that guys can kind of put together something, come together as a council of brothers and say, hey, man, let's try to figure this thing out. Let's try to work it out. And we got to understand, hip hop was born at the tail end of probably one of the last real pushes at civil rights. The Panthers were getting taken out, brothers snitching on Fred Hampton and all that. Like, all of this is going on. They flooded the hood with heroin. We don't have ships and trains. I mean, we had gangs around before hip hop, but all of that was in the fluid, in the soup that created what we're doing. So the gang culture, the vernacular, the streets is heavily involved in the culture of hip hop. But look what is coming off the tail end of. Look at the people they're looking at.
But what is your point?
I
don't get what you're
no, go ahead.
Are you saying that because of what they're coming on the tail end of, it excuses their behavior?
No, not at all. Just trying to give a little context quick as I can.
Everybody knows. Again, the narrative we've been taught since all of us who come up in hip hop were taught the same narrative. This is what they grew up around. They're a product of their environment. You know,
Yeah.
that's what we were all.
That's
taught.
all they know.
So you're saying you're reiterating the point that we all grew up hearing. That was the Kool-Aid we were told to drink.
No. What I'm saying is you have something beautiful born out of those conditions, and you actually had guys come together like brothers do and put together something to help us get out of these conditions, but also make it fun and positive. Like I said, they had a council. This is what bodies do.
How is that beautiful? Will, how is that beautiful?
Real quick.
I'm saying.
Hold on. Let Vulcan say. You said how is what beautiful? Hold on, Will. Ask the question, Vulcan.
How is it beautiful? They stunt on the poor. All the way from the earliest hip hop till now, they always been stunt on the poor. Look at me. Look how broke you are. Look, how is that beautiful? This was not the civil rights child. It was you got Esau and you got Jacob. One of them was the one who was the Cain and Abel, right? So there was a civil rights child who was considered lame and not cool. While there was the other kid who was the rebellious anti-establishment person who came up and said, I'm gonna get my money by any means necessary, and look how lame you look and the girls you don't get because you don't got it like me. And you're celebrating that child and their values when they're the ones who are telling the uncool kids who are doing the right thing, the quote unquote civilians, that you're not cool because you don't have what I have. How is that beautiful?
But how do we always? Oh my bad. How do we always seem to make that the genesis of hip hop?
Before you ask
the question,
before you ask the question, well, just answer. How is it beautiful? Explain
that's what I'm saying. Y'all are telling me something that happened so much down the line from the brothers that was there at the creation and told us what it was. The beauty of it is that hip hop is all inclusive. So if you're in the streets, you're doing whatever you're doing, you know, LGBT, whatever. Yo, you can touch the mic. And if you're anti-LGBT, you can get on the mic and rock the party. This thing started in a park, break beats, people dancing, certain dances, and calling response on the mic.
Okay,
now saying that I can lay any woman, I'm strong, that predates hip hop. When we get into the flash, that's a separate thing than the marketing strategy. These guys told us what it was, showed us, and said, this is the tenets of what we do. So why do we keep inserting things that isn't hip hop? You can say, yes, that's hip hop marketing.
You can't discount the evolution of something. It was that at one point in time. It hasn't been that for a long time. So unless you're willing to cut out pretty much everybody outside of that era out of hip hop, everyone who's not adhering to that set of laws, then hip hop is all inclusive. Meaning the things, the immoral things that they're doing, the things that are outside of the genesis, as you put it, of hip hop, those things count too. You can't discount the evolution. Hold on, real quick. Let me make this statement real quick in response to what Will said. This goes back to my analogy, my crackhead uncle analogy. The problem is that you have folks who are willing to turn a blind eye to the ills of hip hop and street culture because of what it started out as. But there's so many organizations. Right. We're talking about cops, right? Dirty cops. We blame the good cops for not speaking up, even though as an overall culture, right, as it is inception, it's like, listen, this was a positive thing, right? We talking about any number of organizations that have been misused, right? If I look at hip hop as a tool, you have to understand that just because it's a hammer and a hammer's nails, I use a hammer to kill somebody, there is a duality in that, right? I can't just say what's a hammer is used to hammer nails. So therefore, I'm discounting what someone did wrong with it. You can do both of them. You can do both. So when you're talking about the negative aspects of hip hop, they do exist. We can't just be like, listen, hip hop is beautiful. That's it. Because there's so many aspects, right? You guys have agreed with us. Even the hip hop, I don't want to call y'all sympathizers. Oh, shit.
Okay, so let me ask another question. Let's just ask this: how does help?
You already read the comments?
Oh yeah, that's right. That was one. This is a couple. We missed a few comments. Let me get this out of here. All right, so move this screen down. Criticism coming from love is so beautiful. It feels like it encapsulates the nuances
Are you reading this to yourself?
of the situation.
You sound like you're reading it to yourself.
Okay, yeah. The situation and breed solutions that can actually work because you are talking to people who are tapped in. Y'all want to address that?
I want to read it again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Criticism coming from love is so beautiful. It feels like it encapsulates the nuances of the situation and it breeds solutions that can actually work because you're talking to people who are tapped in.
That's a statement. That's a statement, and that statement I think is very real, and that's one of the things. Like when I said before, like we say this to say what? Like where are we going with this? But that's
showing some love. Showing some love to you. Shout out to.
That's because I'm talking to her in the comment section. Y'all go into the people listening. Please go into the comment section because as we're having a good discussion here on the show, there's also another discussion in the comments. Y'all keep them coming. Talk to each other. Be active.
All right, let's get to the next question. How does it affect the way we women?
We only had one comment.
No, it's a bunch of, but some of them going back and forth. They're talking to each other.
I saw her have another comment too.
No, it was like from like 10 minutes ago too. So it's really not what we're talking about.
Okay, I was talking about that 10-minute ago one, but okay, cool.
The 10-minute one. Okay. Yeah.
Again, if people are going to spend time to write a comment, I want to make sure we give it its just due.
Yeah, for sure. Was this 10 minutes ago? What if y'all?
You want me to read it? Yeah.
Yeah. If any of y'all hate hip-hop.
What? If any of y'all hate hip hop, then you shouldn't be discussing it. Hip hop need people who care about it to move it forward. I want to address that, but go ahead. Who wants to go first?
Let's go with Derek, because Derek said he hated it. Let's start with Derek.
Well, I can absolutely discuss it because I hate it, and it's not so much that I hate it. You gave me two options: love it or hate it. There's some middle ground there that I could go, but if I'm going based on what you said on the show, then I damn sure not gonna. And just with what y'all are discussing right now, with all the different facets that make up hip hop. If you take what this brother, what Will was talking about and how it started in the Genesis, I totally get that. It started off as something like, man, this is cool. We're pulling people together. Everybody's got a voice. Well, that crap has changed now. Now you got all kind of crap out there that I would not want my kids or anybody else believing that this is a way in any way, shape, or form. So that's why I say I hate it.
But would you ever talk about the many forms of the art that isn't negative? That's also part of hip hop, because hip hop isn't just consumed by, negative. Even some of the mainstream hip hop is very positive.
No doubt. No, that's what I was saying. The things that Will was saying from the guys in the beginning, whoever's tricking off in the right now that has some positive stuff, I can listen to.
But that's part of hip hop, so we can't just I'm not saying you're doing this, but we can't just give thumbs down to all of hip hop because of the negativity that exists. And again, we talk about negativity bias, right?
By the same token, you can't.
But wait. Hold on a second, first. You're right, but the brother asked me, love it or hate it. There's no way I'm gonna say I love it and then be able to say.
Well, I understand your hate coming from what you follow in your life and who will lead your life. So that's kind of easy. So that's not an argument. I would never argue with you on that based on your fate, and you have a bigger picture in your life than hip hop, right?
Actually, you know what, bro? Even before God, even before, if we can put God, we can put him to the side for a second. I still, just as as y'all would call it today, a civilian.
I don't know.
It's not a lot of it that in my opinion is positive.
That aligns with the way I live.
I don't know, Bane. I seen you on the court, man. You're hip. You played very hip hopish. So I mean, I don't know, Bane.
All right, let's get to that. Let's get to the next question.
Oh my bad. I was going to ask the room a quick question. Though, can I say this real quick? I'm just curious. I'm curious. Oh my bad. I'm curious. In my mind, the way I see it, and I just want to kind of dip into how y'all see it, because I could be off my rocker, man. I don't know, but I feel like for the 50 years that hip hop has been around, I can say just from because like I said, the rapping part of it is small, and I understand what you're saying with the graffiti too. That's a part of it. So we lumping it all in, the breakdance and everything in.
Mhm.
I feel like over the 50 years, hip hop has been at least
Is this a question you asked,
75%
or
positive. Yeah,
are you
yeah.
trying to make
Oh,
a statement?
no. I'm saying over the last 50 years,
Hell no.
Don't make up numbers.
Hell no.
I'm gonna say why real quick. Because, like I said, maybe last time, man, on the part one, Ice Cube said that back in their day they didn't call it gangster rap. It was reality rap. The media labeled it gangster rap, but I can attest to listen to those albums back then, the MC8s, like me and you were talking about, Fresh. Cats like
Yeah.
MC8 back then, even though it was saying street narratives, they were giving you the bad side of what happens, getting
My bad,
shot,
Will.
going
My
to
bad,
jail,
Joe.
your mama crying. Okay, my bad.
Joe, because you said you was gonna ask the question. I want you to go ahead and get your question that you want to ask the panel. So we.
And I
I'm saying,
and I still got to address those comments. So go ahead.
All right.
You and those
So the
comments.
question you
yeah,
want
my
to ask.
bad. Oh, no. I was just saying the 75% positive over the 50. My man Fred say he don't agree at all.
Hell
Okay,
no.
75.
75% is crazy.
Yeah, because the
75 on
gangster
what?
rap over the last 50 years of hip hop, they say it's
Here's the
50, so
thing,
we're gonna
Will,
give
and
it 50.
I'm gonna say this real
I
quick.
say
and I'm gonna land
75% has
fast.
been positive, at
The
least about
problem is
75%.
that
All right.
you have a certain perspective on what's right and wrong. We all have a certain perspective, but you're talking about just because it was real, just because it's an accurate depiction of what they were living at that time, that automatically grants us some sort of pass. Where it's like, okay, well, you're just telling what your life is. If your life is crime, and you telling the story about the crime that you're committing, it's still crime. It's still morally wrong.
Can I ask you a question?
It's real,
It's
but
a
real
crime
does not
novel.
equate
It's a
to
novel.
real
It's a
is not
crime
equate to
novel.
right. Real is just, like you said, it's a snapshot of your reality. But if your reality is wrong, you're just telling the story about the wrongdoing, right? If you're talking about drugs, if you're degrading women, right? Now, I'm not saying that there are positive artists out there who are talking about positive things, but when you're talking about hip hop as a whole, you have to consider that the vast majority of artists are not talking about that. The backpack rappers, the underground rappers, the positive rappers, the conscious rappers, whatever you want to call them, they're a minority in hip hop as a whole. They just
And
are.
they're still
They're not the
sympathizers,
face of
enablers.
hip hop. They're not a good representation of the whole of hip hop. You have to dig for that stuff. There's no positive rappers. There's no conscious rappers in the top 10. And I'm not saying
But I feel
that
like
matters. I'm saying what people are
J.
listening to,
Cole,
what's
top 10
influencing the
conscious positive
overall
rapper.
culture is not the
Enabler,
Commons of the
sympathizer.
world. And here's the thing: even Common rapped about street stuff.
That's a
Common's not
bold
like
claim.
all
That's a bold
positive.
claim,
Common
Vulcan.
is,
You
again,
calling
he's
J.
telling
Cole
a
a
narrative. He's
sympathizer.
narrating the streets, but that doesn't all of a sudden make the streets right. It doesn't make the streets good because he's narrating it. That's coming from a perspective of people who don't see nothing wrong with that. But you could also
does
look at
that
on the other hand, you could look at people who support police as a
Okay.
whole, right? I
Can you
back the
cut Freshly
police.
off too,
But
or
what
you just
about
cut
these
everyone else off?
bad apples over here? They don't.
Bars.
You see what I'm
Babbitt
saying?
bars.
Can you cut
yeah,
Freshly off too? Before we interject?
but my bad. One more thing, man. My definition of bad, I guess,
You know what they did
is
to us right there?
is like you said. My definition of bad might be a little off because check it out, man.
Well, I
If
just
I
say
got a
different. I
lady,
don't want to impugn your character. It's just
okay,
different, right? If you go
my
by the
man.
definition, right? We're talking about morals, right? Most of us are
All
from a
right.
Christian or at least Christian adjacent, right? An Abrahamic faith. There's a set of morals that we
All
were
right, all
raised
right.
by, right?
All right,
Even
sum
America
it up, Fresh, because we gotta get
was
Vulcan
founded
to
on
answer this
certain
There you
question.
go.
principles, right? But again,
Right.
that's where we get our base set of morals. When you're talking about the evolution of hip hop and street culture, right? They will say things, right? But this is a subculture who says, you know what, this is cool because we say it's cool. If you say I had to
All
deal
right,
drugs,
Fresh,
right?
we gotta
That doesn't
move
make
on.
drugs right.
Fresh, we gotta move on.
Yes, I feel
Vulcan,
you
go
though,
ahead
bro.
and
You
address
already know we can
this
chop it up
question,
later. We can chop it
Yeah.
up.
Go ahead, Vulcan, answer this question. So we move
See, I'm
to
gonna make
the
this a
next
minute or less, but I really want to address these comments here because this is what the show's about. So what if any of y'all hate hip hop, you shouldn't be discussing it. So y'all, we gotta recognize this comment for what it is. This is censorship, hate speech type of comment. The people that hate hip hop, the people that love hip hop, the people that are ambivalent towards hip hop should all have a seat at the table to discuss hip hop. Just like anything else in life, whether it's McDonald's, whether it's a corporate functions, the people that hate the idea, love the idea, the people that are ambivalent towards the idea need to get together and figure it out. For reference, the man who presents his case first seems right, so the other comes and cross-examines him. The book by Jim Collins, From Good to Great. People had fierce debate in business to have the best idea win. Those who love the idea hate the idea. It doesn't matter what your disposition about the idea is. What matters is your form of argumentation when discussing it. It's the genetic fallacy, people. This is the Vulcan soapbox about logic. To disqualify a belief or position based off where it came from. Oh, you hate it? That means your opinion about it is irrelevant. That's a logical fallacy. So I'm calling everybody out there in the panel to be more reasonable, more logical, more critical, that we don't abide by things that are going to take us in the wrong direction.
All right, wrap it up, man.
Wrap it up.
So basically, what he's saying is, if you only want one perspective, you only want one side, then I don't know that you really love it or prepared to defend it, right? So if it's just like, hey, I only want opinions from someone who loves hip hop, that's a very one-sided thing. And again, there's other things in society, right? If you hate, and I'm gonna use this analogy again, if you hate bad cops and you want to be heard about hating bad cops, you actually want other cops, good cops, to hear you. They say, listen, man, I'm with the cops. I support the cops. So anything you say, I'm not hearing. For you to say that about hip hop, you are okay in that concept across the board. If you're not for it, then I don't want to hear what you're saying. But that also that mindset has lent to oppression in so many other forms for us. So again, if you really want to have a good conversation about it,
can y'all hear me?
Like Vulcan said, everyone's
just talking over you.
Should be at the very least welcome.
All right, so let's go with the genetic fallacy description based on the truth claim of an argument on the origin of the claims or the premises. So that's what Vulcan is explaining. All right, let's get to the next question. Can everybody hear me? Because my mic just went out. Let's get to the next question. All right, so how does it affect the way we view women? Let's go ahead and start with Will. How does this affect the way we view women? Again, remember, I
think women affect the way we view women. You know what I mean? For the most part, like somebody can tell you whatever they want to tell you about this woman or those group of women. Once you go amongst them and you fill them out and see what they're about, she'll provide the view for you. I don't think you should take anybody's word for it. The woman is gonna give you what you need to view her in the proper context. And I think hip hop is just different guys who rap about that. I mean, there's some ladies, and it could be the same lady, or woman or whatever, that we're gonna go and we're gonna throw on this, Brian McKnight or whatever. But then it might be something, I want to pop that. We were gonna play Luke for you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna do your thing out there. So I think it all has a place, man. There is some nights to throw on somebody, to throw on Juvie, man. Back that up. Because a big fine woman to make you smile when she pass through, man. Good sex, her mama got to have too. Her mama got it. You know what I'm saying? And that should be in the rap.
I might have missed it, Will. I had to go off camera. So did you explain what was your main point as far as how it makes us, how does it affect the way we view women?
Right. I think it just gives you, the spectrum. There's all types of music that describe all types of women in all types of situations. So, most of that is going to be shaped on the listener, I guess, and his experiences with women. But yeah, everybody's had experiences of their own, and I think they should be free to express that on the microphone, without any bias or censorship, because it is what it is. I've seen many types and been amongst.
All right, so let's get everybody else in it. Let's start with Maverick. How does it affect the way we view women? Talk to me.
How does hip hop alone affect the way we view women?
Yes, sir.
Where's my mic at, man? Yeah, no, buzzing like a bee, bro. I don't know, man. I mean, does it affects us in the way the song? It depends. Am I listening to, am I sitting down listening to Queen Latifah's UNITY as a woman speaking on it, or am I listening to Cardi B speaking about Bodak Yellow? I mean, how does it affect? I mean, it depends on what you're listening to. Again, there's positive and negatives to it. So, I mean, as I said before, it's going to be a soundtrack to whatever you're listening to, whatever you're going through. Does it have one effect? How I look at it? I mean, Dear Mama, that's a song about a woman, and it makes me feel great about women. And then we have, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, and that gives me another, impression on women. But the thing is, trying to sit here and say all of hip hop in a whole, not saying you're saying that, but trying to get someone to say that hip hop makes me think of a woman one way as a period. It's okay, they hear me. It's saying as if hip hop only affects me in one specific way. I can't say it affects me one way or another. But
you said what?
Mute your own mic, sir. I'm on, Derek. My bad, bro.
So, hey, Derek, you go ahead and go, Derek.
My fault, man.
So,
God damn.
So, like you said, you got the different styles, the different things. I think the way that it is affected a lot of women, especially at my age. So when you look at women that tatted up, that right now regret it. You got women that had extremely high body count because of the culture, because of what they were listening to, who they themselves will tell you they regret that. So I think the way that it has affected some women is maybe they weren't strong enough to see what it was doing to them at the time. But now that they're old, they're like, man, if I can go back and do that again, I wouldn't listen to none of that. So I think it has its place. But like you said, maybe Queen Latifah or MC Light got a song or something out there that inspired somebody to do something great. Now they're this woman and they're saying, hey, because of this, I'm this. So I get that.
Would you blame hip hop for that?
Huh?
Would you blame hip hop? So I know you're not, right? So this is like a blanket question. Would you blame hip hop solely for the women making the decisions they made, body count, tattoos, etc., at that time, or would you also put it more on? Not saying hip hop wasn't influenced, but would you think something else bigger than hip hop also influenced them? Family, culture, the streets.
Absolutely. But here's the one caveat to music. Music has a way of changing your subconscious.
Agreed.
If you want to remember something, put it to music. If you want to not do something, like if there's an act in the world you don't want to do, listening to music on that very thing in your mind without you consciously doing anything starts to just slowly shift until you've done something. You're like, man, I don't know where that came from.
Yes.
So music is powerful. It is powerful in that regard. But I get what you're saying. No, there are way bigger, deeper problems than that. But that adds to it. And because it's music, it happens in the subconscious. So some people don't even.
I got a question. Oh, my bad. I got a question for the brother. Oh, my bad.
Fresh, and then me, and then we'll get to your question, Will.
That'll work.
Don't forget the question. I'm gonna make you wait.
You're on mute.
To reiterate the question, how does hip hop affect the way we view women? I think the majority of hip hop hypersexualizes women, which again, based on a certain standard of morals that, base standard of morals, I'll call it, that we all abide by, is overall negative. Not 100%, but again, I would say about 65 to 70% of hip hop music in general hypersexualizes or disrespects women. You do have your pockets in there, like Jay said. It's still good music out there. You just got to dig for it. But what is being mass consumed is the negative aspect of it. I would challenge I would challenge almost 100% of hip hop, supporters to say, hey, how much of hip hop's kind of characterization of women in general would you allow someone to apply to your mother or your sister? And if that percentage is low, right? If there's more things that you would wild out on, that you would crash out about if someone applied it to your mother or sister in terms of how hip hop characterizes women, then I think that you would, I don't want to say have to say, but I think it would be more prudent for you to say that overall hip hop does not put women in a positive light. And one of the problems, and this is my last point, one of the problems with hip hop is that women are doing it to themselves at this point more than anyone else. They've kind of bought into the negative connotations and almost, if you want to say, owned it, right? So, hey, if you're gonna call me this, I'm gonna max this out. That again, that doesn't make it right. That's similar to what we were talking about earlier, protesting things. If you want to protest, you do what you want. You express yourself the way that you want, but that also does not change the perception. That doesn't change how we view you. Just because, hey, I'm a rebel, I'm a rebel in the streets, I'm gonna burn this building down. You just have to deal with the fact that people are gonna see what you did a certain way, regardless of your message or your intent. So when we talk about how we view women, right? Not what women are, right? Not the accuracy of it, is how we view women. So that's outside perspective. It's mostly negative.
So real quickly, then we'll get to Will's question. So again, the question is, how does hip hop affect the way we view women? Hip hop is a subculture. Again, audience, culture is to cultivate, meaning it's forming something, it's fasting and forming, it's sculpting somebody based off its culture. What is culture in school? You learn it's cuisine, it's the religion, it's the dance, it's the garb, it's all these different things that form what a culture is. So it's influencing subconsciously, as Derek and Maverick already agreed to, every aspect of that. And so when it talks about how we view our women when it comes to hip hop, as Maverick and Freshly both said, it's not all bad, it's not all good. But when people say there's good and there's bad, it almost gives some type of, it almost implies that it's like the yin and yang symbol. There's white and the black and they're 50-50. That's not what it is. As Freshly pointed out, if you just played 20 hip hop songs at random and you just wrote down what it was saying about women, you're not going to have a 50-50 split on positivity and negativity. You're going to have a bunch of negative and maybe a little bit of positivity and maybe some stuff in there where it's like somebody might debate whether it's positive or negative. Right? So, and I grant that. So, but my point is saying this right here. We shouldn't take issue with somebody dissecting hip hop by itself in and of itself. Just like any type of vaccines or medicine you take. When they're looking at the medicine, they dissect the composition of the medicine. They don't be like, well, we can't blame this medicine for why this person got a cold. They're going to focus on what that thing is doing, the good and the bad, and every single aspect of it. We're going to evaluate hip hop. We're not blaming hip hop for all society's ills. We're not doing that. But the focus is hip hop, and we're looking at what it's doing and how much of what it's producing. And what is it encouraging? What is it discouraging?
But you're not talking about what hip hop, you're not talking about what hip hop is producing. You're talking about what is being thrown in our faces. And what is being thrown in our faces is not always what the hip hop community, Black community, is listening to, because the Black community isn't that big part of what is purchasing and buying hip hop. So when you talk about going to the top 10 or top 20 songs and see what is popular, those top 10 and 20 songs isn't what
Maverick
aren't speaking the voice of just
Maverick.
the
5 seconds. Maverick, 5 seconds real quick here. I just want to say, every time on the last show and this show, every time I say at random, y'all interpret me saying at random as the top songs.
You said top song. You said top 10.
No, I said that.
Okay, I mean,
last show y'all misunderstood me too.
Well, you heard him say it, right?
I say top 10.
I didn't say top. Last show and this show, I said random.
Okay,
I've been saying random every single time. And y'all keep thinking I'm saying top. Top is different. I agree with your point about Top Maverick. I agree. The popularity thing. That's never been my point. My point is if you just go on your Pandora or Spotify.
I was arguing. That was too freshly then. Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Whoever said it, what it was for. But that's all my point was. I'm not saying
random and just write it down. You're gonna find a lot more negative than positive, and it's okay
kind
to
of
say that.
Can you name me 10 negative? Can you name me 10 negative songs about women?
That's easy. Will.
Please, I'm ready. 10 negative ones.
I can name
10 negative ones. I need them.
I can name 100.
Negative ones though.
Well, they exist. Let's not.
I believe them.
They don't exist.
No. Give it, Mav. Come on, please, partner. Give me about 5 to 10 negative songs about women. Negative.
So, can we say WAP? Would that be considered one?
No, where that pussy is great. That's what are we talking about?
Now we're talking about the subjective nature that Vulcan was saying. Now, is it a great? Now, is it uplifting? Now, see, and this is the thing about hip hop. Also, y'all, a lot of people talk about the negative context, but they don't understand the message that is behind it. Again, now when we're talking about, I love talking about "Dope Man" by NWA, right? Because you talk about that song. That song is not about selling dope. Does it talk about selling dope? Yes, but it talks about how you're a sucker for doing dope. How if you're a dope man's girlfriend, how you're a strawberry and you just get passed around the crew and nobody wants to be that. So it doesn't talk about it talks about selling dope, but it doesn't talk about it in a great light. WAP again is a song wet as vagina. That starts with a P though. So when you're talking about that, is it a degrading song? Is it a good song, positive song? No, but if you talk about it, it's some women and some people, or the nature of the song is more of like an empowering. Like, I'm a woman, hear me roar. You can't tell me shit. This is what I do. I don't cook. I don't clean. And again, the context isn't how they deliver the message. You may not agree with, but it's more of a like, shit. This is me. But then now if we're talking about another conversation, even talking about if you go random and pick 10 songs or whatever, the random songs are going to be the popular songs. It's not really a random. We're going into a crate of all hip hop and 10 random songs are going to come out.
Well, again, I mean, I'm just referring to mediums that we have access to. Yeah,
I'm just referring to random.
I know. What I'm saying is, I agree with your point that even if you were to choose the bigger platforms and just put it at random, it's still gonna somewhat go to the popular. I'm just saying that's the best we can do. Unless you have an alternative medium, we can go.
No.
So we ain't even got one. Yeah, we ain't even got one. We gotta get one first.
So the best.
I need one negative one. Give me 5.
Bitches ain't shipping hoes and tricks.
Skewed perspective, and when I
some of them ain't, is that wrong? Some of them ain't shit. He said, "Bitch ain't about hoes and tricks." Hoes and tricks been existing. Bitches been existing. Like, let's go.
I agree with you, Will. I agree with you, Will.
If that's the way you think about it, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that's not really a conversation we can.
All right, Will, watch the language, Will.
That the majority.
Oh, my bad, brother. I'm sorry.
Is a negative connotation of women. You don't see it as that. So it's just a conversation that can't really be had because
very subjective.
It's not moral, it's not virtue, it's not virtuous though the way.
But we've been yelling it strong though. We've been yelling it strong about what's negative and positive. I just said over the last 50 years, 75% of hip hop rap, the MCing part has not been negative.
That aligns with your perspective of 75% of positive because you don't see WAP as a positive perception or positive presentation of women. So again, that lends more to how you perceive it than it does overall conversation. I would challenge you, even amongst the Black community alone, I would challenge you to find the majority of people who agree with you in terms of, now, freedom of expression is one thing, right? You can say what you want to say. You can represent yourself how you want to represent yourself, but that is not equating it to positive. That's the thing. You're saying it, however they want to perceive themselves, however they want to present themselves, makes it positive. That's not the case.
No. I'm not giving it a positive or negative. I'm saying it is what it is.
You asked Maverick to make a negative song about women, and he presented probably one of the, in terms of just overall society, one of the lowest hanging fruits, right? WAP. It's got women who want to be taken serious in terms of marriage in terms of childbearing, in terms of intellect, shaking that. Basically, they are pushing forward their more animalistic, their more carnal virtues as what they want to present, which does not align with in terms of society, right? Even good black men, as a man, would you stay with your woman? Would you approve of? And this is not saying that they can or can't do it. I'm saying, would you approve of your woman creating a song like that and placing herself in the public view?
I would date Cardi and Megan both. So, yes. So if my one was Cardi and Megan and they made that song, I would date them both. If they both wanted to date me and take me out, I would not say no.
That's not what
to
I
Cardi
asked.
and
I'm
Megan.
talking about your girl right now.
Not Meg, not Meg. Cardi on with it. Meg be getting boys locked up, man, for no reason.
Right now, she only belongs to you, and maybe not.
I mean, Cardi and Megan wrote the song
on the internet with her ass out.
If my girl wrote, if I had a girlfriend right now, she wrote, would I be happy? Yes.
Well, no, I remember. Chill.
For me, as I think it's a personal choice. Right? I mean,
let's wrap this up.
My bad. Yeah, you got a brother like Ice-T. You know, Ice-T would love that his lady sells sex. They make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? For me, and the type of women that I prefer, it'd be a little more modest with it. I'm not really with us doing all of that. You know what I'm saying? That's for me though. But
and the majority of people, the majority of men would agree with you, Will. That's what I'm saying. There's always going to be anomalies. There's always going to be outliers. But when you're talking about something as a whole,
Fred, we got to wrap this up. Make it concise.
To the majority when you're talking about it as a whole. If you want to get into the nuances of it, you can say like, yeah, I mean, there are men out there who prefer that or who are okay with that. But are they the majority or the minority? There's way, way less men who would be like, listen, I'm cool with my girl being out here however she want to be out here, as long as she come home, so forth and so on. And no one's saying that they're wrong, but there's just way more, infinitely more men who would say, I don't want my girl out there like that. And that's regardless of whether or not they all right, Will, fresh. That, right? They're looking at Cardi and Megan on that. They playing that song. It's going crazy. It's on repeat in their house. They love the way those women look. But if you would say, hey, let your girl be in that video, they'd be like, nigga, you must be out your.
But again, also,
can y'all hear me out there?
Also with that being said, and I'll make this very quick. A lot of women who listen to that song and love that song and jam that song aren't out in the community and in the world expressing and showing their WAP to the world, right? So again, I understand what you're saying. Like, I listen to a lot of songs before I play sports. When I played sports, football, and I'm listening to, let's go, like nigga shit, you know what I mean? But I'm not going out there with the mentality of killing people, or I'll go to the club, listen to Little John, rep your city, right? When I'll go to parties and clubs, and I'm not out there trying to fight everybody in the club. So again, I understand what you're saying. Like I said before, this isn't art imitating life, right? This is.
Maverick, can y'all hear me? I'm back.
Yes, we heard you.
All right, let's get these comments. Somewhat.
Sorry, Derek.
Real quick.
You're funny, Derek. I'm watching your face the whole time.
Jamie James says the funniest thing about the women in hip hop conversation is that every very definitive woman has to be sanctioned by a man. There is not one woman artist that can go mainstream without the cosign of men. Jamie Jane, I would love you to expound on that. Are you positing that as a negative or a positive, or are you just commenting on the state of women in hip hop?
All right, who wanted to address that?
I want to address it, but I'm gonna give somebody else a chance if they want to.
Okay.
You got the mic, Vulcan.
So I'll make this real short, 30 seconds or less, but that is mostly true. Although I don't know all the way what it means by mainstream. It means like just popularity, because with the rise of YouTube and TikTok, you can be a mainstream artist without any type of major deals now. So you don't need mainstream in that sense anymore.
Or men. I don't think she was saying mainstream, but well, are you equating mainstream success basically with men, Vulcan, or with men?
Well, you would give me the time down so I can clarify, but
you actually had like 13 seconds left. You could have expounded.
Yeah, yeah. I only counted off 11 seconds now.
Well, it's hard to talk while I'm watching fingers go down, man. But yeah, okay,
It ain't my fault you can't multitask.
Derek's fingers is
I can't walk and
fast.
chew bubblegum at the same time. You're fine.
5 seconds, man.
So yeah, so
are we going to pretend? Jamie Jane says, "Are we going to pretend that the gatekeepers of hip hop are not men?"
Yeah, she.
No, we're
Yeah.
not.
Well, I'll say this. So she brings up a really good
She said,
point.
"Is not men."
Yeah, it's not men.
I know what she said. I edited it for her, right? Proofread it a little bit.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Jamie. She been around with me this whole time. My fault, man.
Oh, are we done with the comments, Enos? Because I'm seeing that there might be more comments, so she answers it.
Well, hold on, answer that last one. I thought you brought it up to discuss it, or we're gonna just roll through them.
Well, I was making sure she got. She might have had other comments. I can't see all of her comments.
She has 20 comments in her. I'm reading them all.
Okay.
She has a lot of comments.
So I don't want to get too far from the hip hop conversation, but yes, men are the gatekeepers for pretty much mostly everything. But
I think this is a conversation that also needs to be talked about, because if you're talking about the black community, we should talk about what the black community listens and appreciates, not just what is popular, what the gatekeepers are letting through. But that's another conversation.
Sure. As soon as you come up with a
numbers and facts.
All right, Jays, are you gonna respond?
We can have that conversation.
I'm in the black community.
So I'm responding to this one and the one previously, because I think Fresh asked me a question about my response to the comment before.
Y'all say y'all aren't in the community. Y'all say y'all don't fuck with it, really. Not everyone, but
language
or mess with it. I've heard worse on YouTube, but I will watch my language because y'all are Christians. But
it's because of.
So again, I'm disagreeing with saying that a woman can't go mainstream without the cosign of men, but it depends what you mean by cosign. Do the men own the companies that the women may come up in the ranks, whether it's YouTube, TikTok? A woman that's attractive enough or has some talent can now become famous on her own based off just her body on Instagram. And if she raps and sings, she'll get big off that stuff too. So women don't need men in that sense. But does the men own that platform? Is it men in the background setting the bylaws by which you got to follow in order to come up in that particular social media?
If we're talking about hip hop, yes, we're not talking about IG models. So stay on.
No. You can come up a hip hop artist off of IG, off of a social house, whatever it's called.
And then they're gonna get signed to a deal by guess what?
If they choose to, they don't have to do that.
So they're not. So that means they're not popular, and we're not going to hear them, right?
They can be mainstream, meaning the stream of the main, without signing any major deals. Shout out to Switzer House. I major out a major deal. Shout out to Switzer House. Hold up, baby.
Okay, you're right, but Switch House is also a group as a company owned by men, and they're distributed by a Sony or whoever, which is you're talking about the makers that who are getting the music out.
Real quick, Jamie actually clarified her point. Jamie Jane says, "My point is that's never brought up in the discussion when talking about women in hip hop. In terms of." She also says, not posing it as a negative or positive. I just think it needs to be discussed when talking about women in hip hop. What women rap about doesn't exist in a vacuum. Agreed. And I thank you for clarifying, Jamie Jane.
Well, but the thing is,
she also said thank you for the edit, Fresh.
Yeah. I think she raised some really good questions, but I don't think it's that complex. I mean, obviously,
it's crazy.
What women rap about is based off what women value and what society values about a woman and what men rap about. So men rap about being, who would have thought, being tough and big and having prowess and being assertive and having money. Wow. Well, if you look at the dating statistics, women value men who have perceived affluence and are tall, and because that's protection. Men rap about what women find attractive naturally in every part of the world. So it makes sense. And women conversely rap about things that men find attractive around the world. So again, there's no mystery there. That's hip hop, country, whatever it is.
Also, to point this out, the question was, how does hip hop affect the way we view women? So this is only what women are presenting, and while what women rap about doesn't exist in a vacuum in terms of who they are as a person, when you're talking about people that you don't know personally, you only have what they are presenting to the public to go off of in terms of how you view them, what your perspective on them is. I don't know Cardi B in person, right? But
she's an idiot.
But that you tell it
again, Maverick, you don't actually know that. You only know that based off of what she's presenting to the public. So you have come up with your own perspective, your own understanding of what Cardi B is based on what Cardi B puts out to the public.
But
So
if that's what she puts out to the public, then that's
so
all I
when we're
can go
talking
off.
about how we view women in hip hop, it is based off of what they themselves are putting out to the public, right?
Yes.
I don't view, and here's the thing, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. So I don't look at I don't look at a Queen Latifah or any positive rapper, any I don't want to say conscious rapper.
All right,
I don't look at a Queen Latifah or.
Has anybody ever listened to the Rhapsody album that I always talk about that just came
I
out?
actually just got through listening to the Rhapsody album. I don't look at them in the same light that I look at Cardi B. But again, if you ask
all right, yeah, to answer Maverick's question, yes, I listened to the Rhapsody album. But like Lord Jamal said, I'm not just gonna be riding around listening to that.
That's your
Now,
fault.
real quickly, we're bringing up
if you ask Rhapsody, she will also tell you how hard it is to break through in the industry without showing ass, without shaking ass, without dressing seductively. So again, that's the
she has songs about that. You're right.
That's an anomaly. So she's one of the few who had a skill set that allowed her to make it on her own without doing those things.
Hold on, real quick, Fresh. Hold on, let me say this real quick.
All right, just keep it short. We gotta get to the next question, man.
Enos, let me say this real quick. So even to agree with what Freshly was saying, even Rhapsody's album, when it came out, it wasn't on the new albums for the week on that Friday that it came out. That was an album you have to either be a fan and go find it. So again, I agree with you. That's not what's being pushed out there. But since that's not being pushed, again, not with just positive Black women artists, it's also not being pushed for men neither, nor the whole entire group of hip hop, right? So again, you're saying true stuff, but like that is a conversation that also needs to be had. Is all she's saying, and I agree with that.
Okay, all right. So does hip hop encourage knowledge of self?
Some does.
You got to go around. Now, ask everybody. Go around.
Some does. Some doesn't. I'm done.
All right, let's go with Will. Yes or no?
No question. All day, every day. It's one of the tenets. It's one of the pillars. So yeah, 100%.
Will got a white tee, dread.
Let's go with Derek.
It's definitely hip hop.
Hell to the no.
All right, Fresh.
The majority of it, no.
All right, Vulcan.
So you've listened to majority of hip hop to say that? Because that's what his response would be to us, since we haven't listened to all of it. So that's great.
I'm gonna say definitely not, and quite the opposite.
All right, go ahead, Maverick. Explain.
It's just some does, some doesn't. I mean, even WAP, and again, it's how I look at it, right? So even WAP, a song like that, even
Remember, start off with the why. Start off with the why.
Say it again. Say that again.
Does hip hop encourage knowledge of self? You said yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't say yes. I said yes, and some does and some doesn't. Because again, they're going to make some songs that are going to talk about, to encourage who you are and knowledge of self as we're speaking. And there's going to be some songs that have no purpose but to make you get excited or make you sad or make you crunk or make you, hyphy, So, I mean, there's different songs for different purposes. But, as we're talking about, are there songs that, create, even if it's a song that makes you want to go fight, that is even a song about knowledge of self in that limelight, because that's kind of what they're talking about. So again, I guess go back to Will. So yes, 100% yes. Now, some of the knowledge of self positive? No, some of the knowledge of self is not positive. Is some of the knowledge of self negative? No, not all of it is negative. But I would say that all of it or most of it is going to be knowledge of self. It's just, depends on, what self we're looking for.
All right, Will, let's bring Will in here.
I mean, I'm just trying to understand, man. That's one of the things it promotes the most. That's as essential to this hip hop thing as DJing. Like they said it. Does hip hop encourage knowledge of self? Like the sentence is self-explanatory. They said this is a part of it. You have to get, you know what I'm saying? You got to explore that part of it to be in this culture, in this thing. I don't know. We keep talking about this marketed, commercialized version. That's why it's words, commercial rap. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why, but it's out there. And people can categorize things as that or say it's marketed, but hip hop, it encourages that. Like, this is not even a question to me, man. Like, I don't know. I'm confused. Y'all help me out, because them boys said this is what we talking about. Y'all help me.
I'm gonna give you back the floor. Remember, you gotta explain how or why. How does it encourage you? You're just stating over and over again that it does.
Right. Well, I mean, if you listen to the people who were there, they want you to have a responsibility, number one, as somebody in your community. Like, it's not just a self-based thing, but it's also learning self and mastering self in service of the whole of the community and the culture. You know what I'm saying? So that comes in many different forms. You got many different people in walks of life that come through hip hop, so they're included. You could have, like I said, Muslim brothers. There's so many people that are a part of hip hop that's giving you certain understanding. But just as the community, let's say the Black community, the people who were the fathers of this thing.
Will, can you name a modern artist who espouses what you're talking about right now?
Knowledge of trying to give you knowledge of self?
Yeah, who's a modern artist who does that?
Somebody just mentioned Lord Jamar. He just gonna drop what is that? The seventh. What's the name of that album, man? The seventh floor, the seventh building 7, building number 7. Lord Jamar.
Lord Jamar doesn't encourage knowledge of self. He just stopped being friends with Godfrey because Lord Jamar was saying online, I'll debate anybody about flat earth, right? So Godfrey brings in somebody who debates flat earthers so they
Lord
can have
Jamar
a good
played himself on that.
So they can have a good conversation. He gets demolished by the guy and threatens to sue Godfrey over it. So he wasn't open to explanations and open discovery
But does that? Hold on. But does that?
I didn't know he did that, man.
Just recently, the white boy killed him.
Down self-discovery about us and the world we live in. He's saying some things we shouldn't think about or talk about. Some things shouldn't be explored. So,
but is that what his? But is that his persona or is that his music? So the question.
I know he. But I'm disappointed in Jamar.
We're not talking about his music. But like, there's a song, and again, you say that, right? There's a song that I always quote, right? And I'm not going to get deep into it, but the verse, as much as y'all let me get through it, the song is called "The World Is a Ghetto," right? And it says, let's take a journey to the other side where many people learn to live with their handicaps while the others die. Well, MFers have no money spots. And if they did, then their ass went insane when all the money stopped. I'm from the ghetto, so I'm used to that. Look on your mother app in the map and find text and see where Houston's at. It's on a borderline of hard times, and it's seldom they hear niggas praying and giving God time. That's why I asked my mom to pray for me, because I know that even I got to die, and he got a day for me. And every morning I would.
Who's this you rapping?
This is Ghetto Boys. This is Scarface, Willie D, and
All right, well, let me do this. I do want to apologize, man, but I actually why the proper way is actually how. So let me I had to correct that. I was actually earlier. Let's just pivot right now. Let me ask y'all this right now. Let's go with.
That's also something that I listen.
Why does hip hop have a bad reputation?
Oh, because it's black.
All right, so Maverick already answered. Let's bring Will, and then Derek.
I mean, hip hop is supposed to have a bad reputation.
No,
you know what I'm saying? I think
so
this force that everybody keeps saying and agreeing that it's the most popular, it's the most influential. It can be what you say, anti-establishment. So yeah, I mean, anything that sprouts and comes around like that is gonna be twisted, misrepresented all day, every day. That's nothing new. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, it having a bad reputation, I think it's supposed to, man. You know what I mean? Whenever the people
I rarely hear people say it's supposed to have a bad rep. I actually like that answer, man. Let's bring Derek in here. Why does hip hop have a bad reputation?
Trying to change my answer here.
Man, say what you feel.
If it has a bad reputation, it is all self-inflicted. Because I mean, we live in a subjective world. So what I may call bad, somebody else calls good. And so I think we live where this society has an idea of what we believe is a social norm. And I think hip hop in a lot of ways can go against those. And so if it has a bad reputation, it might be stemmed a little bit to that.
You know that song that I rapped? It also talks about God, and it talks about, you know, the community and the negative in the community. But it's so again, I don't think I'll understand how much rap that is involved. And this is in a group that talks about, you know, have some pretty negative songs too. But every artist has those songs. DMX, if you don't listen to DMX, you think he's a horrible, violent rapper. But a lot of his stuff is God influenced. His life was God influenced.
He was a horrible violent rapper. What are you talking about?
DMX, I mean, he talked about a lot of that stuff, and his life was very very like negative. You know what I mean?
Know about DMX.
But no, we're not saying he was. We're talking about his music, though, right? So his music wasn't all that. Like, again, a lot of pictures were painted, stories when he talked about his childhood and the things that he went through, which was crap, right? If you know anything about DMX and his upbringing, it talks about stuff.
Maverick, you answered already. We didn't get everybody a chance to answer. Let's get fresh air.
But there's a lot of content in this.
I don't think Derek was done giving his answer, man.
Great content that was about to be just talked about.
I'm a relinquish my time to Derek so he can finish getting his thought out.
Derek or Maverick?
Derek.
My thoughts out. It's gone.
It was finished.
All right, man. I think that, again, I'm going to preface this by saying that when you're talking about how things are viewed, what perspective it is, you don't get to control and isolate who is viewing it. If they are viewing hip hop, and the question is about how do you look at hip hop, what's the perspective, why it has a bad reputation, you do have to include the opinion of the quote unquote masses. That being said, hip hop has a bad reputation because what type of hip hop is the most successful, is at the forefront, is being pushed. Again, Will, some of the songs, right? I see you shaking your head. I was going to address this anyway. Some of the stuff that you guys are talking about, I just would love you guys to acknowledge that these songs and artists are the minority in terms of what the masses are listening to, with us included, the masses in general. How many people period listen to? And I would challenge. Let's just say this. I would challenge.
Listen to Scarface.
That when you're talking about the Lord Jamar album or even a Rhapsody album, I would challenge that the amount of outsiders from in terms of the Black community that listen to that is a minimum. And we as people who support Rhapsody and we as people who support Lord Jamar still have not given those folks the numbers that it requires to be mass produced, right? You can't argue the numbers, right? So
yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
You can't argue numbers from the bottom. So if you don't have enough right now, while there's not, while you can look at a popular artist and say, man, they got, 300 million, listeners or subscribers, right? You may be able to argue that. Well, how many of those are this and how many of those are that? But what you can't argue is, okay, if the hip hop community, right, just Black people, I'm gonna just say just Black people, there's still millions of us. So if you look at some of these records and look at, like we were talking about,
hold on, Fresh. We got to keep this. We got to be long with this.
Long story short, the reason hip hop has a bad reputation is because the negative aspects of hip hop, which means that there are positive aspects, but the negative aspects of hip hop are what is mass produced, mass consumed, and pedestalized even by us within the community.
Negativity bias is what you're
one thing to that, if I may, real quick.
Let's just get, because Vulcan haven't spoken yet.
My bad. Go ahead, bro.
Why does this get a bad rep? Because I was in and out. But that the question is, why does hip hop get a bad reputation? That's the question. Why does hip hop have a bad reputation?
Why I'd say it's a complicated answer. I don't know if I even answered. You know what? I say it's a complicated answer because it depends on what frame we're talking about. Now, hip hop is banned in certain places of the world, so it's a bad reputation. If we're talking about globally at certain places, hip hop's also the most popular form of music, so it has a great reputation with a lot of people. But then also, it depends what circle you're in. So hip hop does have a really great reputation for the most part in America because that's the most popular form of music. But the bad rap that it doesn't get, as Derek said, is self-inflicted because hip hop encourages the worst aspects of human existence, from again being braggadocious, ostentatious. Again, let's not even talk about drug dealing and willing and murder and stuff like that. We're talking about just, no man can do it quite like I can. I'll take a muscle band man and put his face in the sand. Only rappers can brag like that. If somebody walked into your job and started talking like that, you may be okay with it because you're a hip hopper. Like all of us are hip hoppers because we grew up around that. But to the broader side, be like, who does this guy think he is? Why is he over here bragging about yourself? To quote a scripture for Derek, what is, let another praise you, not your own lips. What does the 48 laws of power say? Perfection is reserved for the dead. So you shouldn't walk around talking about bragging on yourself like that. All you're going to do is put a target on your back. And so my point is saying this right here. Only rappers walk around bragging on themselves all the time in the way that they do. It's not cool for normal life and regular existence when you need to be down. People like people that are down to earth and they'll look at themselves as above and beyond other people. And my point is saying, so it gets a bad rap for all the different values that it encourages and pedestalizes that go against how our parents raised us, how the church raised us, how the mosque raised us, and how the broader society raised us to be good people and to have family values. And so my point is saying this right here. That's why it gets the bad rap. And that's why it's banned in certain countries, because it goes against the building of family, what is the basic building block for every society. If you take on the cultural mores of hip hop, you will be dismembering the most fundamental structure in society. Well, I didn't realize it would get quiet.
I was waiting to see who was gonna be next to speak up, man. You know, I got a lot to say, man.
I just want to kind of dip this in there. In terms of hip hop, when you're talking about morals, right? Whether you are a Muslim, I'm gonna just lump in all the Islamic faiths, right? When you hip hop, if you're inside of the culture that is hip hop, I believe that most people inside of hip hop allow their views of right and wrong to be skewed based on what hip hop says is okay. But again, you have to understand, you have to consider that because hip hop is a subculture, it doesn't dictate what the wider culture, what the top culture,
check 1 2 1 2,
what those rules and what those tenets are. So if you're in hip hop and you say hip hop has some things that I like, therefore those things are correct, you are negating what the actual culture, that the overall umbrella of culture, right? We can even say American culture. American culture has a set of morals and values that
and we'll have some points he wants to make too, Fresh. I know you.
Yeah, I'm finna wrap it up real quick. I'm just saying we cannot allow, because we like hip hop, and that's the thing, right? I love my crackhead uncle. I want to point out, because if any of my family is listening, I don't have a crackhead uncle. My point is, you love that family member.
That's
because
crazy.
you love that family member, that does not now make everything that family member does be positive because you're in that family. You still can say, listen, Uncle Juicy, when he is not on that ish, he's great, right? He make us laugh. But when he is on that ish, he is on that ish. And those things I don't want around the family, those negative aspects of it. Now, here's the thing. If you look at Uncle Juicy and he comes around on that ish more often than he's not on that ish, you are, as a society, as a family, going to cut that cancer out. Like, listen, man, until you get your thing together, we cannot have you around the family because you are bringing the negative energy here when you're on that. And if you go away and you get yourself together, right?
We'll get in. We're still gonna we'll get in at some point in time.
And you come back, we will welcome you with open arms.
Nah, I mean the kind of the footnote to that is how is the situation around your uncle, right? Let's say that is the crackhead uncle. You know what he about, but is your uncle being manipulated, or is your uncle being fed drugs? Is your uncle being polluted and poisoned?
Well, hold on, quick.
Because that's what we have here. You have something pure.
Hold on, real quick, Will and Fresh. I want y'all to finish this dialogue, but I just want to say this: y'all are speaking in analogous ways that's so far removed from the original topic. I'm not sure if everybody's going to be able to follow. Can somebody state what it is you're debating right now, and then go back into your conversation?
Well, for me right now, I think we're talking about, what I wanted to touch on a minute ago is saying that, because I mean, there's a lot of thoughts for me, man. I don't know if y'all want to give me about.
If you could put it into the form of a question or a statement.
I'm gonna summarize it real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
in this analogy, hip hop is the crackhead uncle, meaning just because you love hip hop, just because you support hip hop, doesn't mean that you cannot acknowledge or call out the negative aspects of hip hop, especially when those negative aspects are becoming the identity of your uncle. Your uncle is on drugs more often than he's not. That's going to be the norm at that point for your uncle until he shifts that norm back to the other side.
Well, hold on, just make it concise so that Will can say if he agrees or disagrees.
Hip hop is the crackhead uncle. You love your crackhead uncle, but you don't allow the negative. You don't allow your crackhead uncle to come around as long as he's exhibiting the most negative aspects that he has to offer.
Now, Will, are you saying you disagree with that, or you before you give your explanation?
Yeah, because the footnote to that is like, my uncle smokes grass and drinks cognac, but I'm being told that this is what he's doing, or either somebody has laced him up with something without his knowing. And that's what hip hop has kind of gone through, is going through this tampering. And we sit back and we say, okay, this is what the culture wants. This is what they're purchasing. This is what they're buying. And this is what they're accepting. I'm saying we live in a time now where we don't even physically get up and go spend our money to support a particular artist. People are paying monthly subscription fees, pretty much being bombarded with what's popular, or viral TikTok people, or people that's really selling more of a brand. And if you're just letting your algorithm play, or your playlist, you're gonna run by artists and get streamed. So are these numbers we're talking about really?
Let me get in here real quick. I just want to say, I don't know if the uncle analogy is really working here, because I don't think it's landing. Not saying it's not a good analogy. I'm just saying I don't hear a lot of clash in regards to
I like his analogy, but it's so much missing when we come to it, because
I think Will is allowing the circumstantial evidence to dictate what's right or wrong. You're saying that it's okay to have.
I think Vulcan was about to ask a good question. Fresh,
or might have laced his joint with crack.
I think Vulcan was about to ask a good question. What is it about his analogy that's missing? Will, if you can answer that.
What is it about what he said or his analogy that you disagree with? So can you state? Fresh is saying this. This is for the audience to understand. When you're conducting a debate, there's something called clash. Clash is that I need to be using the words he used and showing clearly to everybody I disagree. Based off, he said this, I disagree with this. In principle, I disagree with this. It needs to be clear to everybody what exactly you're disagreeing with. And so far, it hasn't been really clear.
Okay. He's saying hip hop is the crackhead uncle. Yeah. And we just asked the question, why does hip hop get a bad rep? So number one, off the bat, you telling me my uncle is a crackhead, that might be reputation. Yeah, I know my uncle might smoke weed, might snort cocaine, but to say he's a full-on crackhead and out here doing whatever you saying he's doing in the streets, is that your representation of what you heard about him? You know what I'm saying? These are secondhand representations of hip hop that's being filtered through that we're dealing with here. The whole aspect.
Fresh, you want to respond to that? I think I think you understand what his point is right there.
Yeah. Again, would you agree that your uncle is on crack, or you're saying we don't know that he's on crack? Because if I'm the family, right? If I am the primary consumer of crackhead Uncle Hip Hop, then I do know, right? I'm not saying I think he's on.
Did you want to answer that question? Or was that rhetorical?
Well, no. So to pose the question, are you positing that those of us who listen to hip hop on the inside of the hip hop family, what we're being fed, what we know about hip hop isn't accurate because it's coming through a filter?
No. I'm saying, all right. Let's say this then, because I like. All right, we're gonna keep the
one more aspect, so you can say yay or you can say this one or that one.
No.
Are you saying that because the perception of Uncle Hip Hop is negative, that it's coming through a filter?
No. Let's keep it.
If I say crackhead Uncle Juice is great, is that also coming through a filter, or because it's positive?
I put it like this: we're gonna keep your analogy 100%. We're gonna keep it. Uncle smokes crack. All right,
but smoke crack, okay?
Right. That's what you said. He smoked. Okay, so it's confirmed he smoked crack. I'm with that.
Okay.
So let's look at Marion Barry in D.C. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, Marion
well
Barry
respected, well connected, like Marion was. No.
You know, now, Marion did some great things up there for the people of DC, man. So much so that even though he went through his scandals, they reelected him because Marion was really looking out for the city. So if Marion chooses to get high, when everybody has a vice, some people have pornography addiction, shopping addiction.
I just wanted to say this because this shows about critical thinking, and so you started off with the uncle thing, right? Then you jump to a different analogy mid-sentence.
Okay, all right. Let's say.
So I want the audience to recognize that makes it hard for everybody to follow your argument.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You jump ship on it.
Okay, let's say my uncle is Marion Barry. That's still a crackhead uncle. You know what I'm saying?
That's a dope tie.
My uncle is Marion Barry, but he hold down the community. He does good things for us. He bring the money back. He filter it in. He's trying to uplift.
Mm-hmm.
Him in a hotel room, getting high, but handling his business is to me no different than who do whatever they do to stay vice. Because I know some real drug addicts who will not steal from you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If they with you, they not gonna do you wrong. So, I mean, hip hop in totality. Because if let's say it is on crack, I feel like the benefit is much more than him being on crack. That's why I said.
Now we're getting somewhere. But hold on real quickly.
Okay.
Fresh, if you don't mind addressing that and then reading the comments afterwards, please.
Okay. So, real quick, all I was saying was exactly what you just did, but people who support crackhead Uncle Juicy will allow crackhead Uncle Juicy to come around the family on crack just because sometimes he's funny. Just because, he still so you're allowing circumstances, outside circumstances, to dictate right or wrong. Now, I would say this: if your uncle is Marion Barry and he holds down a community and he's doing his thing, does that mean that you want him to be on crack, or do you still think crack is wrong? Would you still prefer Uncle Marion Barry to be off of crack?
I would probably prefer, you know what I'm saying, if he had more of a healthier lifestyle. But I prefer that for myself, though. I prefer that for me, too.
Negative, why you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Just because you want to keep the baby doesn't mean you keep the bathwater. You can and you should separate the two with critical thinking. Now, I'm going to read this comment real quick.
All right.
Jamie Jane says, ask yourself why the negative aspect of hip-hop are allowed to be reproduced. Who is in control of the distribution of hip-hop? Who is in control of the record labels, media? Come on, y'all. I'm going to address it real quick. I would say the people who are producing this music, who are rapping on this music, who are writing these bars, are we saying that as a community we should not allow that to be out?
Well, that's a good question, but hold on real quickly. I want everybody to get a chance at this comment right here. So, Derek, do you want to address this comment?
Y'all know who's in control. The big boy, who's in control of that mess?
Hey, let's just.
You said what? I didn't hear Derek. I didn't hear Derek.
For audience, who you got, Derek? Who's in control?
I think
help the audience out. Help the audience out.
What did you just ask, Vulcan?
I said help the audience out. They may not understand it as well as you.
Oh, well, I mean, Satan was the music man in heaven. And when he got kicked out, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get to this. This kind of goes back to my point saying how powerful music is to the subconscious. So when you say who's in control, you might see the man that got in the Bentley that's the producer. But who's in control of all that stuff that he's doing? Oh, the big boy, Satan's in control of all that stuff.
I do want to answer this.
Well, appreciate that. Enos, you gonna go next? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go next. Who's in control? The people that's the most vulnerable, the people that want it, the consumers. They're in control.
Okay.
Because when you're vulnerable, you open yourself up. That means you're actually in control because that's what you wanted. That's actually a power.
Yo,
who's in control? And 30 seconds or less. If you can just say who you think is in control.
So ask yourself, who is in control of the record labels? Who is in control of the distribution? Oh yeah, man. Yeah, when brothers tried to come together to get that distribution company, man. I know y'all remember that. They talked about it. Allegedly, Jay-Z was the one who ratted on it and broke it up, but it was supposed to be Jay Prince, Suge Knight. Who was the other two? Y'all help me out. Jay Prince, Suge. I think it was Puff.
You're saying this who's in control? Jay, you saying Suge is in control and Jay Prince and them are in control?
He's saying.
Oh no. I'm saying it's the same people who've been in charge of same cats who've been in charge of certain situations and been in charge of breaking people up. I mean, let's point to one of them in Leo Cohen. He broke up Dame and Jay basically. You know what I'm saying? And isn't he like the guy that's the head of YouTube right now? Isn't he running that YouTube music?
So real quickly, so for you, it's Leo Cohen and other people that's reproducing it and distributing the hip hop and controlling the record labels.
Y'all know that.
Okay, Maverick, go ahead and hit him with some knowledge. Hit us with some knowledge, Maverick, please.
I'll repeat the question again.
Ask yourself why the negative aspect of hip hop are allowed to be reproduced. Who is in control of the distribution of hip hop? Who is in control of record label?
Hold on. Why is it allowed? It's allowed because of money. But again, I mean, hip hop in the consumer level isn't about educating the youth or educating its listeners. Not even the youth, its listeners, period. It's a business. So again, that's my thing when we're talking about hip hop, when we're talking about any form of music. We can talk about any genre, we can talk about movies, we can talk about black movies, we can talk about black art, we can talk about anything. It's consumerism. It's money, it's financial, it's a business, which is why Drake is suing. It's not because of the streets, it's because it's business. This isn't about anything else outside of business. So we have to understand that, right? So when talking about hip hop, in my opinion, in talking about hip hop, we have to separate, as I think Will stated earlier, commercial hip hop, as opposed to what the community resonates with what hip hop is. So what is in control of it? Money. At the end of the day, money, because that's what we're doing. Jordan and them play basketball. People play basketball because of money. If there wasn't money, they wouldn't play. So that's entertainment, and that saturated everything. It made basketball weak. We watch basketball now. We watch football now. You can't hit hard. You can't tackle a certain way. Your churches you go to now, sometimes because of money and the way that money is involved in churches, it's watered down the services. And the way, just legally, teachers can't teach kids the way that they need to do and discipline kids the way they need to do, because legally they could be liable and get sued and get fired and go to jail. So it's like money.
So yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna address that. I think I'm the last person addressing this.
Hold on, real quick. I don't know what Derek is listening to. I'm kind of excited what he's listening to than what I'm saying.
I know you asked the question, Fresh, but did you really answer it? I thought you just asked the question, but did you answer this question already? I mean, I think okay.
I didn't answer the question.
No.
Okay, yeah, you just asked the question.
Can y'all know what
actually, that's not I did answer. But I asked another. So I'm gonna answer the question. I did pose another question. The negative aspects of hip hop are allowed to be reproduced. Who's in control of the distribution of hip hop and who's in control of the record label? I would say the majority of hip hop distribution, reproduction, is controlled by white men. What I would like to put out is that they are only there's not a lot of rich white men who are rapping and making beats and putting together songs. They're only distributing what's being given to them.
What's being given to them or what people are purchasing, because they're not distributing what's being given to them. A lot of stuff is shelved.
All right.
Right. Do we think it's being shelved because it won't be consumed?
Yes.
Or do we think it's being shelved because of the message?
It won't be consumed.
Y'all about to get into a sub conversation, which is cool, but we're just addressing comments real quick.
J. Cole is being consumed and it's not shelved.
You want some more comments? Pull up some more comments?
Yeah, let's get into the comments.
We're just making sure everybody got a chance to address the comments. I'm last on that one. So I want to say, you know, when she's asking who's reproducing, who's passing this stuff out, this is a popular comment that I hear people make all the time, and I think it's really irrelevant, especially in today's time period, because this is not the Motown days with the shiny-haired Motown guy who gets done bad in the deal. People come up on their own with Swishahouse. Those of us from Texas, Swishahouse came up. The people who, if you got Suge Knight and Jay Prince all in together, they will produce the same music that Leo Cohen is doing. It's not like you get
the third one, Will.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So all of those guys are going to produce the same music that Leo Cohen's going to do. They haven't shown any behavior to suggest they're going to be any different than anybody else. They're just, like as Maverick said, they're after the dollar. So they're going to want the same money that the white and whatever else wants out of the deal, and they're going to put the music that's going to get them the most money. So when black people,
where will the dollars funnel to? Do you think the dollar funnel will be different? Do you think more of it'll reach?
No, because what the studies show is that black business owners typically are worse than white business owners when it comes to stuff like that. But that's another topic. Black banks deny black people at a higher rate. So I mean, but again, we can get on that stuff kind of later. But I just want to address the point that just don't assume because they look like you, they're gonna give you more stuff. They might feel more entitled. Familiarity breeds contempt. Anybody ever heard that before? Now, I'm not saying that applies across the board. There are a lot of I have a 501(c)(3). A lot of people have 501(c)(3)s to help black people in black communities. So I'm not saying they won't do certain things, but I'm just saying they're going to push the same music that's already being pushed because they're after the same dollar that Leo Cohen's after anybody aside from him. So don't think that it's going to change if we put black people in power.
They're probably more likely to push the negative aspect of music, being that they are from that culture.
No,
we're
but that
Jay-Z, Suge Knight, and Irv Gotti, all street dudes. You don't think they're gonna push street music?
But see, again,
do you think they're gonna stop pushing street music to push positive music?
That is subjective because you have J. Cole, and that's the biggest one I go to because he's a top guy, right? Him and his music and what he's done is kind of different with the music that he puts.
He's a sympathizer. To me, he's a
oh my god!
Because
he doesn't agree to what you want. Is because
no, that's not it. That's not it. But again, we can. I would love to have that conversation. But I just want to make one last point.
You said how many J. Cole?
Remember the Motown movies? Why Do Fools Fall in Love with Frankie Lyman and stuff like that? Remember when Frankie Lyman wanted to come back to that guy? I'm talking too fast. Come back to that guy. He says, nobody's listening to your music anymore. It was about the dollar. He didn't say, we're not pushing that agenda anymore, Frankie Lyman. It hasn't changed. People are going to push what makes money, as Maverick eloquently stated already. It has nothing to do with some kind of agenda they have on the side that we don't want this kind of message to go out. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, no.
But to all their credits, the Irv, Puff, Suge, and Jay Prince, they all had kind of diverse acts. They all had R&B acts, you know, Danny Boy, Jewel, Death Row signed Tina Marie, I think, didn't it? Or was that Cash Money signed Tina Marie?
Well, when you see the Death Row story, Suge Knight was hazing people that worked under him in a way that Leo Cohen would never do. Let's be clear. Familiarity breeds contempt.
As an example.
If they're black like you, they will subject you to things that a white person would never do to you.
That's bars.
I can agree to that, man. Some of that I can't agree, and I think that problem isn't a hip hop problem.
Next question, fellas.
That's a us problem. You know what I mean? That's we got to fix that.
As Maverick stated, we are the only thing that matters in hip hop, right? Hip hop is us.
Have people drinking urine. Let's not forget.
Hip hop is.
Oh my bad. Question: how does hip hop affect our view of masculinity? How does hip hop affect our view of masculinity?
It's the last question, everybody. It's the last question right here.
Let's go with Will.
It's a good question, man. It's a good question. I think you will find a lot of people who will say at some points hip hop is, you know, over masculine and misogynistic. Some people will say that, and that to be a man is to do X, Y, and Z. And then we'll be able to point to, you know, things that say, well, look, what about what he's saying and what he's saying? So I think for me, a lot of it just comes from the lens that I view it as. Like a lot of them songs that, you know, we say was negative, I'm still finding a message within it, even though it's harsh. You know what I mean? It's almost like your grandmother or your grandfather saying, boy, if you don't, we'll get your... It sounds terrible to somebody listening, but they looking out. At the end of the day, it's not bad. So I think when it comes to masculinity, man, it's all across the board. But I would like to see probably more. If you know, if it's a thing, I would like to see more. Because hip hop, one thing I'm seeing is some people feel as though it's not a place for, I guess, homosexual men and all that. And some people don't have a problem with it. It's all inclusive. That is a conversation. So I would just like for hip hop to be that open where you can get all views of it, because, you know, those are still men. They still have masculinity, and I don't know. But then you listen to a Kendrick Lamar on the other tip, and he'll make you feel okay about being, or even Tupac. They speak about being in touch also with the feminine side, having the mother and the father, and understanding that within oneself. So I can't knock that, man. I think it makes a young man think and evaluate what it means to really be in tune. Knowledge yourself. Once again, you get in tune, understanding who you are and what you mean to those around you. I think that brings out, you know, the best parts of your masculine side.
All right, let's move it around. Let's get Maverick in there.
How does it? I don't know how it affects our view of masculinity, but how does it affect my view of masculinity? I mean, it just depends. But I think masculinity is it's negative and it's positive. I think masculinity, my version of what a man should be someone that can fight, someone that can defend, someone that can kill at will if needed be, to protect the family, to protect your kids, whatever. And it's also someone that needs to provide and be a father, and someone that needs to be, you know, just educated, just a bunch of different things. So it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, I have to go talk to my daughter's coach pretty soon, right? And I have to have a real good conversation with him. And I might listen to some Ghetto Boys before I go in there. Maybe some Lil Jon. You know what I mean? Because I need to get myself in the right headspace, not to be violent, but I need to stand my ground and speak. speak up for myself and for my child. If I'm going to something else, I mean.
So you say when you listen to that music, it help you. Well, I'm trying to see how that ties to how it affects
what you're saying, exactly what I'm saying. Yes, it does. It's like, when people would go in war back in the day, they would chant, right? So it's like, as Derek said earlier, music is powerful, man. That gets into your soul and it makes you move. But I mean, so how does it make me look at masculinity? Again, I don't let music define who I am, right? I don't let music isn't imitating my life, right? My life is imitating music. So, but that's me.
I think you said that backwards.
I think you might have said that backwards.
Did I say it backwards? All right. Well,
all right.
Correct myself. I'm wrong sometimes. Correct me.
If are you again? We're assuming, is that true that you said it backwards? Did you mean to say your life imitates hip hop?
Music doesn't tell me what I need to do, right?
Okay.
Like I sit there with my life will dictate what I'm listening to or what I need to hear or whatever. That's what I meant. So however I need to say it, that's how I meant it.
I guess the sub we get fresh in here. Let me answer it. It does give us a false reputation of what masculinity is. And what I'm saying that because the way we might view what meekness is in hip hop, it looks at it as a negative thing. So, historical figures like Martin Luther King wouldn't be. Majority of people wouldn't respect what the practices Martin Luther King did in the '60s. Majority of hip hop wouldn't respect that. It took a meek approach.
I just had a 27-year-old from Third Ward telling me that same exact thing. He does not respect Martin Luther King, and he said Malcolm X is a way better man for this. I literally had that conversation today with him.
Not just. You want to go deeper? We can go even further. We can go further. If Christ was here, most women be like, "Man, you let somebody do that to you? You got them kind of powers? I can't respect that." I think even a supernatural person,
I'm not gonna lie, you said that kind of sinister the way you said that.
But I'm saying I can't see today's hip hop really respecting what Christ went through, King go through, especially if they know the person had those kind of powers. They were like, "Man, you better than me." They might say something like that to them. You better than me.
There's a lot of hip hop songs that respect and talk highly of God, and Jesus. So that's crazy.
for sure.
Crazy you say that.
But I think majority hip hop would agree.
Go with the majority again.
There's a lot of people in the hip hop community that would discredit or say that Martin Luther King is not a good man based on the fact that there's rumors out that he cheated on Coretta.
It's not rumors, that's fact. But again,
if it's facts, there's a lot of people who would discount.
That's not facts, man. If they had some on MLK, they would have brought that out then.
Well, Donald Trump released the files now, so that's official. Like,
that's facts. It's been facts.
MLK documents have now been released.
So
they're not
MLK used to get white prostitutes.
A lot of people who now that it's out would discount the positive things that he did based on the negative thing that he did, even though the positive things that he did far outweigh the negatives.
So can we use that in the same light as R. Kelly and his music?
My point is,
and Derek has to go, y'all.
The negative aspect of what you
do, I gotta go too.
Does matter.
Sorry about that, Derek.
Oftentimes in the public,
I forgot what I was
it holds more weight.
We gotta let Derek in, y'all. He hasn't addressed it yet either. Neither have I.
I have lost what y'all's question is.
Yeah, I know. My fault, man.
Masculinity, hip hop, and the black community. How does hip hop affect? How does
hip hop affect our view of masculinity?
Oh, your view, because you don't know everyone's view. How about your view?
Yeah, how does it affect my view?
Marison, I'm hosting. Okay.
Y'all say we can't do that.
It's Maverick. He's hosting.
You say we can't do it, so I'm holding you true to the same standard that you give us. That's all.
We have to get. My computer's going off, guys. It is. Oh shoot! Sorry about that. Okay,
still there.
It's giving me 5 minutes. Sorry, it's shut off on its own.
That's about right.
How does it affect masculinity? You know what, man? I hadn't even collected my thoughts on how that is doing that.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, that's cool. You come back after you hear everybody's points. Feel free to chime in. So for me, how hip hop affects our view of masculinity is it gives us a horrible depiction of masculinity, which it shouldn't be shocking. It was birthed out of fatherlessness. How can a fatherless subculture teach people about masculinity? This doesn't make any. It doesn't make any sense. That you don't have to from the rooter to the tutor. It's all bad. So we don't have to go very much further outside of that. Again, putting drug dealing and murdering aside and robbery aside, when you talk about being ostentatious and bravado, all of that jewelry wearing stuff, that stuff is accessorizing. It's very feminine. Now, I'm not saying we don't all do it because we're all a part of hip hop, but a lot of the values that hip hop communicates to young men is stuff that people did because they didn't feel like they had a voice, so they were overcompensating for things. I'm gonna act big, bad, and tough. Why? Because I don't feel big, bad, and tough inside. I'm getting bullied. Mike Tyson said he was getting bullied. Mike Tyson, you listen to Mike Tyson talk about this, he says a lot of stuff he did was because a little boy inside of him was trying to overcompensate for the stuff that happened to him when he was a child. Teddy Atlas said it. He said it. A lot of these guys, Snoop Dogg on Jada Pinkett's show said, I was afraid. I was a big gangster tough guy because I was afraid. So a lot of this stuff, the bravado, machismo, macho attitudes and stuff like that is because people were getting picked on by the minority groups in their community that had the power, you know, the gangsters, whatever it was. And so I can be big and bad on this track and nobody can do anything to me on this track. And sometimes it still gets people caught up. But every aspect of masculinity, from how you treat your women, it's considered to be a masculine thing to objectify women and to treat women as H's and tricks and stuff like that. All that kind of stuff is not birthed in hip hop, to Maverick's point or Will's point or Fresh's point, but it was encouraged and put as the mainstream way of thinking about it to young African American communities. And so that became the heartbeat and the theme music for the debauchery we're already seeing in our communities, from pimping, from, again, I already mentioned fatherlessness and the gang culture and stuff like that was already happening around us. So yes, it in every way makes us and treats us in a way that hurts our community as far as masculinity goes. It gives women an unrealistic view of what a man is. And we all saw this growing up, but you see this on mainstream. The guy who talks big and bad and really is suffering from insecurities, and you got guys that can barely read, but they know all the different lyrics and different music and stuff like that. And so these guys acting out a different way so that they can be seen and heard because they don't get that from their achievements still academically because they don't really have them there. And so my point is saying all that is spells bad news for our community, and we got to understand that you don't get the values of a true masculinity from hip hop. It's everything that you got to do.
Vulcan.
Yes, sir.
Who hurt you, man?
All right, let's
I'm gonna tell you who hurt me. I'm gonna tell you.
We'll go find him and we'll go find him and put hands on him.
No, who hurt me was hip hop.
Okay, let's talk about it. All right, so let's do our closing statements. Let's get what's that in your hand, man? Vulcan.
I'm waiting the person who hurt me when I see him.
Oh, I'm like, what? Let's start off with Derek. Give your closing statements.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys. Hip hop is not a huge thing for me, so a lot of my thoughts are just like Maverick said. I'm kind of looking at more the negative aspects of it than anything. But learned a lot from you guys on this subject. So appreciate.
You mind sharing one thing you learned?
When Will was talking about, I wasn't even putting all those different aspects into hip hop. I had hip hop in my little box over here that I'm like, put that crap in the trash. Started saying all of this and that, and I was like, okay, I get that.
Shout out to Will. That's what's up.
Shout out to Will. Appreciate you coming on, Derek. It's always a pleasure when you join, man. We love to have you.
Appreciate y'all, man. It's good discussion. Like you said, I be learning a lot just listening to y'all, man.
Oh, you were saying something, Derek?
I was like, it stayed on. My computer said it was getting ready to just shut off.
Okay.
But I'm gonna get out, guys. I got to get up early in the morning. So y'all stay blessed, man.
All right, hold it down, man.
Coming on, man.
Put that ball to the side.
I teach my kids that same thing. I appreciate that, bro.
All right, man. Love you guys, man.
All right, man. What's up, Will? Closing statements.
Oh man, just I'm through and through, man. I'm through and through on this, man. I'm a be pro, and I think I'm a down that hill, man, like them boys from that Glory movie, man. With Denzel and them, I'm gonna just have to down this hill, man. Is I can't really articulate what this thing was set to be, or what it is, or what I see it as. You know, KRS said he doesn't even like this thing being categorized as a genre. He said hip hop is life. And when you look at what they set forth, it's not a religion, but really looking at it, it can be sort of akin. Because if for me, looking at it, standing out, everything that I see here, I'm talking about from the skewed visions, the negative portrayals, the violence, the treatment of women. I see that in every form of religion, but for a longer period of time than hip hop. But you know, my man, even that just signed off his perspective, man. I would like to talk a little more extensively with him, but to say that I hate pretty much hip hop, but he seems like a very religious brother, and he loves the Lord. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm with that. But you have the same type of detractors going at organized religion, specifically Christianity, and you can take that back to Frederick Douglass and other brothers talking about this particular book and the imagery that comes along with it. Like everything that I see levied and lobbed against hip hop is what I can lob against Christianity, Islam, anything else like that. But we sign up with the love of it as if God is not in hip hop, as if hip hop is not a creation from the Lord. I hate that it's this distinct.
Oh snap!
Religious, if this is a religion.
But yeah, so Will, you made some good points as far as like you said, you wanted to you're gonna ride down that hill. So I definitely appreciate you, because like I said, you bring a lot of nuance to this conversation. We actually didn't get through all our questions. I would like to invite you for the third one if we have.
Y'all be having some good questions, man. Some thoughtful questions. I appreciate that.
So let me bring Maverick in here. Closing statements.
Cook.
I have nothing to cook with right now. Hip hop is hip hop, man. I mean, shit, you have to kind of go through it and figure it out for yourself. It's not really one broad answer. It's not one real question on what something is. It's kind of what it does for you. You listen to it, take what you want to take out of it. Hopefully you're somebody that is that has a sense of self already, before you go listen and view anything. And then once you view it, listen to it, hear it, and you can actually decipher the message from what you're getting, then anything will be good. But to categorize something as whole as one way or another, and I'm not on y'all's side to where I'm willing to say hip hop is something that needs to be stopped. It's bittersweet to everything. I get it. Yeah. And just like your wives, there's stuff you love about your wives and stuff you hate about them. Just like they hate stuff about you and love things about you. It doesn't make you bad altogether. It doesn't make you good altogether. It just makes you something. But yeah, definitely appreciate you coming out. Like it's always a pleasure. First time you came on was the hip hop top conversation. I think we were dealing with Drake today, and the first time you came on the show was dealing with Drake and Kendrick.
You want to go ahead and give your closing on it?
Yes, sir. So yeah, so to Will's point, yeah, you have other religions that have some negative things. The difference between hip hop is actually glorify a lot of the negative ills. Those things and those religious practices actually condemn those things. It happens, but it's not a rule of thumb, So, like I said, I hate that I love it. Of course, I love the styles. the way the MCs are really articulate. You could put a whole movie in 3 minutes. I really enjoy that about the hip hop. But like I said, I think it done more harm than good in the last 50 years to our community. We can move it around to Fresh.
I'm gonna stick with my analogy and essentially say that if you love hip hop, there's nothing that says that you cannot call out the negative aspects of hip hop. Actually, I'm gonna switch analogies to what Maverick was talking about. There are things that, as a husband and wife, you dislike about your partner, but when there are more things that you dislike about your partner than you like, and they start to affect your family, at that point, you need to separate, or at the very least, fix some of those negative aspects. So while I do love hip hop, while I think hip hop at its core, right, can be a force for positive, I'm dealing in reality. I'm dealing with what hip hop currently is. And I want everyone to look at it like as if it's your family member. You're relieving hip hop of accountability because of what it means to you, what it started out to you. But that is how we get into a lot of the problems that we have as a community, is because we love that thing, we love that person, we love that entity. We allow it to get away with things that are detrimental to itself, themselves, and the community as a whole, which is why we were speaking on the negative aspects of hip hop outweighing the positive aspects. It's not saying that those positive aspects don't exist. We're saying that the things that are negative are outweighing those things, and we as a community are not holding hip hop accountable for what it has become, not what it is as its core, right? We're looking at hip hop as a sweet baby that it was when it was growing up, and not the savage in the streets that it has become. And that's the problem. That is the problem
So
when we're talking about conversations about accountability. Hip hop is not that sweet baby anymore. Is it in there? Maybe. But once hip hop starts to display, and that's the key word here, once hip hop starts to display and lead with those characteristics that you knew from when he was a baby, right? Once that baby is sweet again, right? But as long as hip hop is out in the streets,
go ahead, wrap it up, Fresh.
Doing this thug thizzle, we have to treat hip hop as what it is and not what we want it to be.
All right. Let's get Vulcan. This is why.
Sorry, go ahead, Enos.
No, say this is last words from Vulcan. This is why we're doing the show.
Yeah. So everybody, I just want to say I agree with a lot of points that everybody made on the show. I think that for Maverick and Will, we have a lot in common. A lot of the things that you love about hip hop, I would say I love that about hip hop too. But I would say that's the rap side of it. Again, hip hop is a subculture. If you listen to Kara speak on hip hop, like you said it really well, Will, it's akin to a religion. So again, I can appreciate aspects of a religion without agreeing with a religion altogether. And the same thing goes with this. I love rap. I love hearing people break things down with their words and stuff like that in a very poetic way. That to me fascinates me. I love how you can fit so much meaning and content into it.
They said we don't have nothing in common.
Let me make it, man. Please, come on, man. I do it.
Can I ask y'all one quick question though before we go out, fellas?
I'm gonna finish.
Let him finish first.
Oh, all right, my bad.
Don't forget the question. So I was gonna say I have the same beliefs about rap that you have about hip hop, and we can sit down and vibe out together because we have that in common, and those things are so closely related. But when it comes to the subculture of hip hop, it brings in so many other values that I don't appreciate and don't agree with. So I'd have to reject that, and I'll just keep the rap part of it. But I'm going to reject the cultural part of it. So that's my perspective on the hip hop thing. And I want to thank everybody that's watched the show today and watching that debate go back and forth. And feel free to, be part of the show and like and subscribe and share. But go ahead, Will.
Yeah, man. I like so many different styles of hip hop, whether they're talking positive or negative, but just, your style, the way you put it down. I like that. So like, how do y'all suggest we fix it? Like, what do we do going forward? Because it's already here. I feel like hip hop probably ain't going nowhere. But what do we do to keep it around and keep it as inclusive as we can? Like, y'all have any suggestions for the future going forward with this thing? How do we right the ship? You know what I'm saying? Because I love it, man. I've been, you know what I mean? It ain't going nowhere. So what do we do going forward? Should
I be the next show or what? I mean, like,
hold on. Can I say something on that real quick? So, education, right? Unfortunately, and this is as harsh as I can say it, stupid people can't educate people, right? And unfortunately, when it comes to hip hop, you have hip hop that is driven to a community that is underfunded, underprivileged, underregulated, to where they don't have the stuff needed. Now, again, with the internet and stuff, if we don't have what we need, we can easily go out and get it. Right. But that also comes with a want of getting it. Right. It's not that now you have to talk about pushing in the wants and the needs. So again, how can you change it? It starts at home. But then again, we have to fix the home. It's not necessarily hip hop that's bad, because as we know, what people want is what they're going to push. So then if people start wanting the positive hip hop, then they're going to push that. The only difference is that the most people that are the most people that are wanting hip hop and that are purchasing hip hop aren't the black community, because the black community is a small minority here. So again, the white people that are purchasing hip hop at the high rate, that are going to these concerts and selling out and going, all in the fields, these people are liking hip hop because it doesn't represent how they live or what they live. So they want to listen to the Little Uzi Verts talking about the shit they talk about, or the Kodak Blacks, or these other people that we don't listen to, because it's again, that is art imitating life, and they like that. That's their little funnel into it. So until we get them out of what we do, which we never will be able to, we're always going to have this issue. But understanding that we're talking about the marketing of the problem and not the actual issue. But that's a whole other conversation in its own.
That's real, man.
And
good answer.
were you going to address his question, or how you going to do that? You going to leave it at what it is?
Yeah, I actually agree with some of what Maverick said, as well as what Will said. I want to point out that, again, when you're talking about communicating to the masses, you have to address what the masses are going to consume. So I would actually start as opposed to addressing, I'll put it like this. I would start with the producers of the music, right? So I would start with the most popular rappers in the game, in terms of the most popular negative rappers, right? So we're going to say that, your drill rappers and your gangster rappers and all that stuff. I would target them and say, listen, use your popularity, use your platform to pedestalize positive aspects of Black and hip hop culture, right? If the consumers are a fan of the artist, then theoretically we should see the whole culture turn. If they are a fan of the type of music, which I think they are, then I think we see a drop in the earning power of the culture, which is going to actually steer people away from that, right? So I think that we have to start with the worst of us in terms of morals, right? The worst of us. So if you're rapping about the worst aspects of hip hop, I think our shift, our change, our fix, if you will be to start there and like, hey, we need you to stop rapping about this, because there are people that listen to you that want to do what you want to do, right? There are people who look up to you, and let's start having you rap closer to what Rhapsody is rapping about. Let's have you move closer to what Common is rapping about. That way we can actually see where we lie as a community and then shift the whole culture towards a positive aspect. But I think as long as we have the negative aspect and people like that, I think the education aspect of it isn't the problem, because music is not being funneled to us anymore. You can go on YouTube and look
thought
up
we was on
anything
closing
that you
statements.
want to
What's
look
going
up.
man. Nah, man, I enjoy both of their answers. Like, that really helped me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way
We're more
Mav
in
said.
control of what we listen to than ever before, and those negative aspects, those negative artists are still leading the way. You don't have to listen to what CD they put out. You can go on YouTube and type in anything that you want.
But that's how you know sell success. And like, there's people that have a YouTube following but don't have an actual sell following, right? There's the people that have a SoundCloud following or a mixtape following, which doesn't make any money.
All of that
and
stuff is monetized. All those things are monetized. So if you have a YouTube following, you get money from that.
No, but there's people with music, right? There's people that have a mixtape SoundCloud following, which is one thing, and there's people that have actual like industry following, right? So a lot more of the Tech Nine. Tech Nine is one of the hottest rappers out there.
He's also one of the richest.
Underground, right?
He's
exactly.
also one of the richest. So his music translates to money. And
underground
even he's not rapping about positive aspects. He has more than the average rapper.
But what I'm saying, underground, right? Rapper. And a lot of his success comes from like his movie being on white platforms, on movies and different things. So again, in order to get what we want out of hip hop, we have to take